everybody, and welcome to the Classic Who Zone. We're here for the Aztecs. We finally got there last night. My brain was kind of half dead last night. 3.5 hours sleep, but I got a nice sleep last night. I went to bed at 12 o'clock. Woke up at 6 in the morning. I thought, oh no, here we go again. But I managed. I got up for a few minutes. Get myself an old drink of water, and then I went back to bed and I fell back asleep. So got a bit of a rest today, and then I was in great form because it's me and the wife's wedding anniversary, as you know. So I want to get through this watch along, so I can spend a bit of time with the missus after this. So I won't be hanging around, but was watching the Manchester United game, and if anybody knows anything about football, it didn't go too well. And right now, actually, our manager could be getting sacked. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that while I'm doing this watch along. I've sent all the emails out to all my guests. We got 2 waiting in the studio already. As I said, sent all the emails out. So as soon as you all get in, we'll bring everybody on and we'll get cracking straight away. I've got the episode ready to, I've got the story ready to go. 4 parts as far as I know. So it'll be a nice little stream. When they drag on a little bit, it can get a bit tiring, but we got four episodes, I think, tonight. So we'll be doing them. Absolutely fantastic. Let me see. There doesn't seem to be anybody in the chat tonight. I don't know what's going on tonight, but there you go. We'll soon get cracking along anyway. So I'm going to bring on my guests because they're all here. So we'll get this show on the road. So let's start. Without further ado, we got the one and only Queen Charlotte.
Hello, everybody.
We got Problem B.
Hi.
And we got Real Super Doctor.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. How are you all doing?
Not bad.
Good. Just finished watching Dan's The Spacebook review, the Centaurans episode, and Charlotte, you were on point, girl. On fire. Yeah.
Oh, we had fun. We did have fun. We did say positive things, though. We weren't all bad, but yeah, we had fun doing it.
Yeah. You raised some excellent points as usual, so I was quite impressed with that. That was great.
We got a couple of people in the chat. We got Robert Campbell Stonebanks, welcome, and we've got Aaron Baker, welcome. We got 9 people watching at the moment. If you could do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe. So we got the Aztecs this week, folks. Just before we do start, feelings on this story.
It's an interesting one. It gives Jacqueline Hill a lot to do in it, and she's basically the female lead in this, and we get to see how the Doctor is going to get them out of this, and it's quite interesting in the end to see how he does it. But I think it's a dark story as well. It shows you the darkness of history, and it tells, and the Doctor clearly tells you, do not get involved in historical events because you could become a part of them, or you could actually change them and cause a problem, or become you would be noticed in history, and the dangers of time travel and that, and it does really explore that, and this is why I think this story is quite interesting from that point of view, because time is everything's set in time, and if you're a time traveler and you've traveled back in time, and maybe you're at that event for a reason, because you're a part of that event, because you were destined to be a part of that event. So it's the warning, because the Doctor says, believe me, I know, because you cannot rewrite history, not one line. So I like that.
Lee?
It's not one of my favorite Hartnell stories, but it's a good, strong first season story. As Super Doctor said, Barbara sort of thrown the front and center of this, and it's great. We also, this is the first time we're introduced to the Doctor having a potential romance.
I know.
Also, you got the sort of the most sort of Doctor Who-y titles of these stories. You got the Temple of Evil, the Warriors of Death, the Bride of Sacrifice, the Day of Darkness. All sounds like something that would be written by in the Philip Hinchcliffe era. You can imagine these titles in that era as well. So you got the sort of most sort of Doctor Who-y type of titles. It's definitely an improvement on Keys of Marinus, because that was quite a headache for me. But I'm kind of worried what this is followed by, which is just not one of my favorite Hartnell stories. So I'm grateful we've got this week, because this one is a sort of, I think, not one of my favorites, but definitely a better story than the two either side of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think this 4 parts is perfect for this. I think this is a nice contained. It knows what it needs to do. It does it quite well, and just to sort of add new, because the history is a big theme in this, but I also almost see this as a bit of the tipping point when it comes to Barbara and the Doctor, because you start to see his respect towards Ian in the last story, and I think this one on purpose is almost now them saying, look at the Doctor who's starting to respect Barbara, which I quite like.
Fantastic. All right, we'll get this going anyway. If everybody in the chat is ready, please press 1, and we're going to get this going ASAP. As I said, it's me and the wife's wedding anniversary, so
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy
I should in reality be spending time with the missus, but she's been very understanding about me doing this, which is absolutely fantastic. We had a nice lunch today, and then I cooked a nice dinner, so it was nice. Yeah. Quiet day. Not much that we can do in Ireland, because most places now you need a kind of a pass to go and have something to eat. So as we're not vaccinated yet, unfortunately we can't do anything. So we had to stay at home for this anniversary. I think 2 years ago we actually went to the Hard Rock Cafe, and we went to get some food, but we ended up getting very drunk. Cocktails galore. She bought cocktails that she didn't like. I ended up drinking them, and then we ended up walking home that night. That was funny. That was a good night. But I see there's a couple of ones in the chat, so we'll get this going. So without further ado, Queen Charlotte, if you want to do the countdown.
Yep. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
And we are going.
I love how BritBox tells you this contains racial stereotypes.
Oh, Oli, do you know what's been brought back? My dad told me some preview channel is showing Benny Hill at Christmas. I said, that's going to have warnings galore, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's just so patronising.
No, my dad just said, like, I just thought, Benny Hill? And he goes, yeah, no, it's happening. It's like on the front news of some of the papers.
Well, good, because Benny Hill was fantastic. It's so much fun. And yeah, of course it's dated, but you have to take it in the context of the age it was in. And, it at the end of the day, and I know I keep saying I hate using that expression, but I keep using it. It's fun. It's a joke. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And if anyone thinks that people are going to go out and mimic that behavior in real life, is an idiot. It's the same argument as saying that computer games causes people to go out and commit violence. It's complete nonsense. I do love the costumes in this. I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the sort of village chief and all that sort of lot.
Yeah.
They have fabulous costumes.
Oh, there's that racial stereotype there. People cutting out people's hearts, the Aztecs. Well, they did do that, they're getting away from it.
No, they did worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
They did worse than that if you know any of the proper history to do the Aztecs.
looks like the TARDIS prop has had a wee bit of kind of clean up again, because you can see the white window frames.
That's true.
So I'm a bit amazed that they haven't done the history teacher after Barbara. Because like, look at her now. Like, this is why this is such a good idea for a companion. Because they would be excited. They would be sort of wanting to touch and be involved with history.
Well, you had that with Big Finish,
Clara.
didn't you? With what's the companion's name? The old lady.
Evelyn Smythe.
Evelyn,
But Clara wasn't a history teacher. She was just a teacher, wasn't she? And it didn't really inform a lot of what she did.
Yeah. But as a good point, it would be good if a history teacher went along with the Doctor, because the history teacher would actually see events, and it would give a sense to the audience that they could actually relate to that companion because of their experiencing of the Doctor's adventures and seeing things for real.
The only problem is, of course, the BBC is now one of those corporations, media companies that loves rewriting history and making it something it actually wasn't because of the postmodernist deconstruction and
Yeah, it's the same with the Doctor's origins. It's been rewritten.
Yeah, they're obsessed with destroying history.
Say hello. Say hello. I can't get it to show her face. Beauty. She's like, no, I want to go on your knee. Stop mithering me.
You can see the backdrop there has been cleverly done. It's actually been a sheet that has been painted, and there's a backlight to it, which is quite good. Even though you can see it's it gives that dimension. That
happy birthday! Of course, it's. I'm about to say it and I'm blanking. It's it's Ian Chesterton.
Ian Chesterton,
the actor. Yeah. So happy birthday! That's quite nice that we're watching this then, isn't it? Really, for that.
It was yesterday, wasn't it? His birthday.
I know we talked about it. Yeah, because we talked about it on Thursday. We've talked about
97, I think he is, isn't he?
Wow.
See what his eyes? He's not aged in the eyes, has he, at all?
Oh, you can
still see that character.
He's still in the eyes. He looks exactly as he does in these. That's what when they had the image of him, obviously now next to him as Ian. That's what struck me straight away. I was like, God, he's not aged in the eyes.
Yeah, and it's a shame they didn't include him in the 50th. They should have done. They made a kind of reference to Chesterton, to the school, but Cold Hill School. But it would have been good if if it was explained that Barbara had died and he was in his own, and they did get married and all that, and he met the Doctor and. He didn't know it was the Doctor, and he started talking about his adventures and all that with the Doctor.
Yeah,
and the Doctor
I don't think they would have time. I think there was so much going on.
Yeah.
I think that would have been nicer. Do you know, actually, now you've got me thinking, not do it for the 50th. Do you know the Caretaker episode?
Yeah.
Give him a cameo in that.
Yeah.
That would have been nice, actually, wouldn't it? Give him a little teaching, like, as a teacher, or headmaster or something, just a nice little.
This guy thinks he's Richard III. You know?
You got to love though that you don't get actors like that anymore.
It's all good old stage acting, like
the greatest thing about
play for the day kind of stuff,
Yeah. The greatest thing about that is that they can go over the top because they're on television and it's for a small wee screen and all that.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it had to be bigger than life. Yeah,
it was the way that Peter Purves had said about William Hartnell and his acting, and it's because William Hartnell says he said television was like a kind of wee small box, and that's why he had his fingers and his hands up to his face and all that, and the eyes and the expressions and all that when and he was very kind of touchy and all that, just to kind of make sure that the camera was picking up every angle he was doing, because he's a professional actor, William Hartnell, and he knew all about television and all that, and
film, because he's a film.
Oh yeah, Carry On, wasn't he? He's in quite a few of the Carry On movies.
Yeah. See that all the lapel gripping and all that, and the expressions. He knew what he was doing.
See, and also that's how you do eccentric, not talking silly. That's eccentric. It's all certain doctors have got this to a T perfectly, and William is one of them. That you just have to almost have one slightly thing off kilter that's not normal.
Yeah.
To show that alien, to show that not being human.
Yeah.
Not rabbiting on like an idiot. You just like I said, holding the lapels with Matt. It was like having his arms constantly flying about, and a few other doctors like Troughton with the recorder. You just need one little thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it the whole of your doctor. It just needs to be a little aspect of it.
Barbara's loving this. She's I'm like a queen. You're not me.
So that was basically the sonic screwdriver before it came the multifunctional tool for everything, and like a Harry Potter wand.
Oh, because I think the more overacting though isn't the chief; it's the guy who's got the thing on his around going over his mouth.
Yeah,
he's a proper little like in like Lord of the Rings, the spy that's like poisoning the king sort of.
Yeah. Well, he's got a sort of Richard III sort of hunchback thing about him as well.
Yeah. What's it called? Like, there's a term, isn't there, that the character that is that sort of like advisor that's just there to mess stuff up.
Serpentine.
Yeah. Worm tongue, that's it. That's the sort of term, isn't it? I've heard. I've heard people refer to it as you can be a bit of a worm tongue.
If Hartnell never made this role believable and he put all his effort into it, it would have failed. Doctor Who would have failed, and it wouldn't have even got into the next story.
Like
the Daleks,
like it is now.
Yeah. well, now because the actors that are cast, they don't even know the secrets of Doctor Who, and they haven't done their research on Doctor Who, and they basically don't really know this part for television and how important it is, and how to engage with your audience.
Yeah, but I think, to be fair, obviously with William, it wasn't so much he didn't do the research because he originated it.
Yeah,
I think the thing is with William, even when he was obviously starting to show, God love him, his illness a bit, you never doubted the sincerity of him as the character. You knew he believed every word he was saying, that he was creating this character.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you need. Yeah, he embodied it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like he was the start of that.
Yeah, he played it like an eccentric old grandfather, and that's what was important because he was the hero. He wanted to be the hero. He worked that way for the Doctor to be the hero, to the one that's going to. Well, he fails sometimes, but even that. But he is the one that's going to make sure the situation's all right for his companions and all that, and make sure he gets out the situation and all that. And
he made grandparents cool again, like, because if you think about the 60s and, it was the start of the sort of teenage rebellion years.
Yeah.
And, all that sort of counterculture started in the sort of 50s and 60s. And the old guard was sort of seen as fuddy-duddy and boring,
Yeah.
and you know they've been through the war, and it's like also I only talk about the bloody war, and you know. But he made grandparents cool again. You know, people wanted to hang out with their grandparents. I understood them as being wise and you know having stories, and I think that was a great thing, really.
Well, if you think about what his incarnation was, it was sort of in old folk tales, basically the old wise man. That's what William brought to it.
Yeah.
But with that sort of cosmic sort of
wizard.
Yeah. Because I don't know if he's ever talked about it in interviews, because I know obviously when he would have started, it wouldn't have been nowhere near like what it is now. But I'd be interested to see how he would. Do you know how old doctors sort of say what the Doctor is to them? And I'd be intrigued what William saw it as, because that's what I see. I see the old wise man of like old folk and old societies, combined with the wizard, combined with a bit of like impishness, and it's such a good combination.
Yeah. Well, impishness seems to be the word of the day, doesn't it? Because obviously Capaldi came out recently saying that you know he wanted to take the Doctor into a darker direction, like the original William Hartnell incarnation, but that the BBC seemed to want to make him more impish, or make the character more impish. And I think that was a direct dig at the current era.
But see, I saw that quote, and I think imp's interesting word, because if you, like going back to what I said about William reminding me of the old man, the sage figure. If you look at traditional fairy tales, if you look at more the grim stuff, imps were not nice. They were horrible tricksters that basically you didn't want to come across.
Yep.
Whereas the modern day version of an imp is basically, you can interchange it with fairy, and they're sort of the same thing. Whereas the old term, or the old fashioned way I've always seen it, is they're basically
a mischief maker.
Yeah, but dangerous in like mischief maker. And I think
like Rumpelstiltskin and all that sort of thing.
That's the old fashioned imp. Whereas, like I said, now I think it's just interchanged with fairy almost. The modern way to see it.
Yeah, people sort of clump together like fairies, pixies, imps into one sort of homogenized entity, but they're quite distinct, really. But I think the Doctor embodies the sort of the wizard, the wise sage, but also the mischievous imp. And I think I was reading through. I was watching Rabbi's video earlier about how someone working out what was going on with this flux rubbish was that the Doctor is an agent of chaos, and I just thought,
no, the Doctor's not the agent of chaos.
Really not. But like at the same time, there is an element of contradiction to the Doctor's character, and I think there is an element of mishmashing order and chaos, because you know he does create chaos in organized systems of fascist dictatorships and whatnot. But it's a controlled chaos. He kind of plays this game of chess. If you look at the Seventh Doctor, for example, is an exemplary example of that, because he is playing chess. Yes, he introduces. He's not supposed to be there, but he's there, you know, and he's there to instigate change. And he does that through levels of play in terms of strategy and gameplay, but also a lot of chance, a lot of chaotic rules apply. But I wouldn't say he's an agent of chaos. You know, I think he's an agent of change, really.
Yeah, or revolution in some ways, because I think, like you said, he's always traditional Doctor anyway. If he sees an oppressive regime, if he sees somebody in charge who shouldn't be, who's using that basically power to abuse, he will try and stop it. But it's not like he goes out of his way or he purposely looks to do that.
He wants to instigate things. Like he wants people to do it for themselves. You don't see him leading the revolution. You see him as an agent of helping people to do it themselves. That's the key. He doesn't dictate. He doesn't take charge in terms of, right, everyone do as I say and I'll change the world for you.
Yeah.
He gets people to do it themselves. He encourages people to stand up.
Yeah, he makes people see the other side a lot. Like people who might not appreciate something
and he always tries to give the oppressor the chance to change as well, you know, to give them an out. You know, I can save you as well. You know, I can help you to change.
Yeah, he gives chances, and once you blow those chances, that's when you see the slightly more dark, the slightly more sort of like, I don't say mean because that's not a good word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and you can see like every sort of death or every failure of trying to change like the Daleks or change the Cybermen or change the villain of the week around, you know, he feels that when he fails. You know, you can see that he's genuinely upset that he couldn't make that difference, you know, to not only make that person or that monster better, but himself, you know, because he fails time and time again to change the ways of people's sort of more negative aspects into something that, you know, as an agent of change, not an agent of chaos.
Agent of change. I think we've finally got some. Yeah, I think that's probably what the best way to phrase it is. Not chaos. Yeah, change.
So, you know, when people say, you know, Doctor Who's about change, I think they seem to take it in a very literal sense in the way that, you know, it's always supposed to be progressive, inverted commas. But it's really not. It's more about him impacting
the lives around him,
effects on the people he comes into contact with. You know, like he wants to improve the lot for everyone, including the villains. You know?
Yeah, and it's even the title, the Doctor of War. He's not the Doctor of War. He's really a moral character. He's really out there to make peace. You know, he's just there as a figurehead, just to kind of make sure that everybody's all right and everything's back in order again and everything's okay. And when it's not like that, he does take action when needed to be.
That's why I like the Face of Evil, because, you know, you finally get to see an impact, you know, of what he's in a smaller way as well, like not time slip. The one with Paul Darrow in it.
Time Lash.
Yeah, in a smaller way like that. You know, as much as that gets a lot of stick, you know, you do see somehow in his past he's had an effect, but it's run away and changed into something worse, like with the Face of Evil.
Well, yeah, because obviously, I know for some people it's become too much of a thing in New Who, but the idea of the Doctor.
But it was nice to see. It was nice to see him facing sometimes that when he thinks he's done right, he's actually made things worse, and that's. I'd like to see that addressed again more. You know.
It's a shame all that's been lost. I mean, with New Who now, all that characterization, all that work that's went into that character has been lost.
Swiped aside. Yeah, it's got to fit as many dad jokes in as possible, and you know.
And it's like when Doctor Who came back in 2005, it's like this. It's like Eccleston's Doctor never knew anything about aliens or anything like that. It was like when confronted by the Slitheen, he never knew exactly what he was doing. He was kind of bluffing them.
Yeah, but I've always seen that as the Doctor has travelled a lot and he's seen a lot, but he won't know every alien out there.
Well, the universe is. As
massive,
as the Hitchhiker's Guide would say, the universe is big, really big. You know, like
so I sort of give pass for that because he's, and I find it boring if he knew every alien. I like that when you get an alien.
I think it should be impossible to know every race. I mean, you can know aspects of history of certain races, you know, that made big changes, but you know, as I say, you know, the universe is extremely big. And not only is the universe big, but time is long, so it's kind of infinite what you can discover, otherwise it will become very boring.
This is a wee bit dark.
Mm.
I mean, there was dark things in this episode, the Aztecs.
Well,
Kinda
it was
pushed
a
the
barbaric
boundaries.
civilization, I mean, a lot of civilizations that we see as civil, we call them civilizations and weren't particularly civil.
Yeah. This is when Doctor Who was about storytelling and about telling an actual story, even though it wasn't a fact. But you know what I mean. It's not like what it is now, that all those good things about it and all those grim things are now cut out of everything like that, and it really kind of defeats the story.
I think back then you could see, when it came to history, they were a lot more.
See what Barbara's doing here. She's not understanding the culture, and she's applying her 20th century moral code on the Aztecs, and the Aztecs are like, what? I don't understand.
Oh no, but that's the thing with the Aztecs, and that's why I think it's interesting that they even went here, because to them it was moral what they were doing. To them, they were protecting their people, their civilization, by sacrificing to the gods.
Yeah.
They didn't see it as barbaric.
Well, yeah, because everything was gods related. The mountain gods and all this kind of, the god of the air, the god of the land, the god of this, the god of that. So, the reason why they committed so many sacrifices was to appease the gods, particularly if the crops were failing, if there hadn't been rain or whatever, then they would sacrifice people to the gods.
Yeah, and it
cut
was
out their
just
hearts while they were still beating them.
Yeah, it was seen as a way to live. So yes, it's barbaric. You can't.
And they also
raised
a caste of people who were born to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
That's something we can't comprehend today. But that was it. It would be like, I don't know, the first son of the first, whatever. It was a caste system, really. Anyway, that's the end of episode 1.
Yeah, I
Just get right into episode
say
2.
something. So someone put a comment in. It's only showing up on StreamYard, and obviously Google has decided to remove it. But if you can't talk about the pandemic or the virus, because if you do, the comment's not going to show up in the chat. So keep it on topic, please. Because as I said, it's not showing up on the YouTube channel, but it's definitely showing up here on StreamYard. So please keep it on topic, okay? Because Google are removing, and as I said, YouTube are being, with their censoring. If you talk about that kind of stuff, your comment is not going to show. So just keep it on topic, because you'll also get the channel into trouble. I think some people forget that. I mean, all YouTubers are saying it now. You just have to be careful what you say. If you and that's in fairness, anyway, on topic. We're here for ClassicWhoZone. We're not a medical channel. Don't give a shit about the
Dr. Flu.
So leave our comments out, and leave all politics out as well. This is Doctor Who. This is not a political channel. It's not a medical channel. This is a Doctor Who.
We'll leave the politics to Chibnall.
Right. So just leave it all out, please. Okay. Right. If everybody in the chat press 1 so we can get with the second part, please, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I don't mean to come across as a bit of a cunt, but at the end of the day, this is YouTube's down, and I don't want my channel that I've built up along with everybody else here to be ruined because someone puts a comment in about something that they shouldn't be really speaking about anyway on this channel. I don't talk about politics on this channel unless it's got to do with pop culture. Okay, so I'm very strict on that. And if I see any posts like that and they do end up showing up, you will be your comment will be removed. 3 strikes and you'll be gone. Simple as that. So that's where I stand on it. So I just wanted to make that very clear. So let me see. We got 1-1. So we'll wait for TARDIS.
Come on, chaps.
In the chat.
15 people watching. Where are you?
Yeah, nobody's in the chat tonight. But everybody is watching, which is brilliant. So it doesn't matter. Even if they don't comment, at least we got people watching.
Let's have a 1.
Exactly. Can I have those ones, though, please? We've already got 1. There's a few people in the chat, so if you could just press 1. Even if you're not watching, just press 1 so we know we can go.
Do it.
I'm pretty sure we can. Anyway,
is there something on TV tonight? We don't know.
Maybe they're out to the cinema and seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Could be.
Yep.
So Friday night or Saturday night. I mean.
There we go. We got a lot of ones there now.
There we go.
Okay. I'm sorry I have to be tough on it, but that's just the way YouTube is now. And with all the censorship that's going on, if someone says the wrong thing in the chat, I get punished, not you guys. I'm the one that gets punished. And it's not fair on the community that we've built up here if someone starts talking about all of that rubbish. So keep it out. As we said, we're not a political channel. I even put up a tweet today. I think a lot of these channels have forgotten that they're pop culture. They're not supposed to be really talking about politics. If you want to talk about politics and set up another channel to talk about politics, we should be talking about pop culture. That's our job. So that's where I stand on it. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Yeah, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Sorry.
Oh dear.
Not a bad story, but I have to say, I obviously I haven't. I was listening to you guys. I didn't want to kind of interrupt, but what a knobhead Barbara was. Sorry, she shouldn't be interfering.
Yeah. Well, the doctor should, but he did kind of say to her, if you don't give them what they want to hear, they'll turn on you. She's not taking that on board. But it's a moral quandary, and this is how clever writing works. You give the audience a question, like the moral conundrum. And
Briley is asking, is Man United off the menu? Yes, it definitely is off the menu. As I said, this is a classic stream, so leave the football out of it as well.
For my sanity.
For our sanity, me and Lee will just...
You know better!
But in fairness, Barbara was a bit of a knobhead there. These were the way these people...
Oh, he's giving her a damn good bollocking right now.
Yeah, but this is the way I look at her. Who is she to put her own moral standpoint on these people? She had no right to do that, and the doctor is right. And give her hell, doctor. That's it. Actually, loaf her in the head while you're at it.
You're meddling.
His death was unnecessary.
If only Chibnall...
He still jumped off the fucking wall and killed himself.
Chibnall should watch this. If Chibnall watched this, he'd understand. You can apply your modern day postmodern thinking on things, on history, but ultimately you can't judge it by these standards. So he's basically saying you can't do that. You can't meddle like that. It's not the way it was.
Yeah, and it's also the idea of condemning. It's not just commenting on it. It's that you can't condemn these people. Like I said, obviously by today's standards, yes, it's barbaric, but it was their way of life.
Exactly.
It was their way of making sure that, like Lee said, they had crops that grew good for the next year. How they got the right weather, because that was how their system or their life sort of way of life.
Yeah, many cultures throughout history have done the exact same thing. Human sacrifice has been a thing, and while today we wouldn't do anything like that, and we do look back in the past and think it is barbaric, but that was society back then. That's the way they lived their lives back then. They were superstitious, For example, the Egyptians, they worshipped cats in the sun and stuff like that, so... Yeah, Chibnall could really learn a history lesson, all right, couldn't he? But let's not talk about him.
Busy rewriting it,
Yeah, but it's like, I've always thought this, to be fair, linked to that, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to love looking at the stars. I used to just love not like looking for anything. I used to just sort of like stargazing a bit, and I remember always thinking, even as a kid, like, we have science now. We have so many advances, but think about hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They didn't have that. So I could just look at like the stars or look at other things in nature without almost trying to take away your modern day knowledge. And you can understand why they saw everything as a god, or they saw everything as having these patterns to do with something above them. Because it is amazing nature, or bits of, like I said, the night sky or whatever it is.
Let's give props to the props department as well, actually, for this. The costumes and all of the other little props that they have. You could say they put an awful lot of effort into it.
Yeah, I mean, even though like the Aztecs were more than likely bare skin, rather than wearing padded, tops and tights.
Yeah, but it's what they could get away with, Lee.
Well, I mean, they got away with it in Cave of Skulls, didn't they?
Yeah, but you can have a half-naked caveman. That's all right.
An interesting thing about Doctor Who is they hired a lot of stuff from different companies and different places and that, and everything came from different departments and that, and different historical departments. But they always recycle. The thing about Doctor Who is they always recycle something for the next story. To save money in that, and they used their creativity and their talent. Who was ever in the costume department to make that necessary for the next story, and I think that's well done, which kind of lacks today.
You've always got the impression, especially early classic,
yeah,
that they were never quite not comfortable is the right word. Like they could never rest on their laurels. They had to all, like you said, make do or just make things stretch a bit longer because they didn't have that security. That obviously, God, imagine, like I've thought this for ages. Imagine if just from 2005, I'm thinking of that type of money. Imagine if some of the classic teams had that amount of money. What would they would make some incredible sets and really be inventive, I think.
I think by then that colour television was really in its infant stages, and it was like I think it was just going to become colour. I think it was by the late 60s anyway that they were
not
going
in the
to move
UK.
into
I
colour
mean, in
television.
America, but colour TV didn't take off until about the mid 70s in the UK.
Yeah.
And even then, you'd have some streets you'd have one telly per street.
Yeah.
Well, my grandmother used to tell me. I think my grandmother had the first TV in her street, so everyone used to come around and watch it.
Yeah, my dad has similar sort of, more obviously not his generation, but generations before. Yeah, he can remember that. Hearing stories from his grandparents and stuff.
I see the old conversation about the brain of Morbius is still going strong. Jeez, I
it
would do.
What's my that come back up again?
Some
don't ask.
All right, I won't.
But the whole thing is blowing up. Everybody's got involved now. It's unbelievable.
Oh
God. Literally, I woke up this morning with 40 bleeding notifications, and I just see everybody's having a go at each other over it. Like, that wasn't the intention. I was just pointing out that she was talking out of our backside.
Doctor's little romance.
Yeah.
The first accidental marriage, because he's had a few of those now.
Yeah.
He's like,
That look.
get away, his nosy sods. Yeah, but don't tag her in anymore. That stuff. I know you're trying to prove to kind of give her all angles, but she's not going to listen. And there's no point to tagging Bolshevik in it. He won't want to get involved in all of that anyway. So yeah, just leave it now.
Leave it.
Jealous. Friley 1974 has a VCR with piano buttons, like a proper old school mechanical thingy-bob VCR. They were great. I only ever had the digital ones with the push buttons.
I can remember for ages we had a combo. We had a DVD, and it was like one side was the DVD and the other side was tape.
Yeah.
For years.
And they still sell those because they're great because you can convert all your. Well, I mean, they still make them. I think you can still convert your old VHS into DVDs.
Super Doctor, are you being attacked by Cybermen or something?
No, there's some kind of interference come through.
Weird.
Sure you haven't got a Cybermat like underneath your desk?
Nope.
Oh, I love his expressions when Williams.
And he sort of just slinks off.
Yeah.
Off the camera.
I just love his expressions.
You're still hurting because he actually beat you with the Vulcan neck pinch.
This guy reminds me of Monkey Magic.
Monkey Magic. Do you remember? That was a great show.
No, I love that. I grew up watching.
I was actually watching Little House on the Prairie today with Cheryl.
Oh God!
It's been a long time since I watched that show.
God, yeah, I used to. I remember I can still see the little girl running through the tall grass.
Yeah.
And then the
Little
freeze
Laura
frame.
Dingle.
God.
Brilliant.
Jonathan Landau, I think it is. Is it? Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was
Martin
Highway to
Landau,
Heaven.
wasn't it? Martin.
See that Highway to Heaven? It makes you really cry. I mean, it was very moving when it was on television. I mean, really, it was something that theme tune as well.
Yeah, it's very, very emotional show that too as well. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't get it now. There's nothing like that now.
No, there's no sort of shows like that nowadays. You know.
There's not many comfort shows, is there?
No. And don't get me wrong. There were very dramatic and bad stuff did happen, but by the end there was always a positive message or something. You know, there was always something for you to hang on to. Now everything is doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though that's why I know people knock it. That's why I like Death in Paradise. It's my little nice show that relatively everything's going to be okay by the end of every episode. So it's just my little I want something light and fluffy to watch.
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not. Look
Well,
at the
I'm
eyes.
to lose against you. You get me what I need. Ha ha ha.
The eyes are very full of expression, Hartnell's. I mean,
There.
He's always plotting.
yeah. See, when he does that with his eyes, you know he's going to plot something. You see, it's very, very cleverly done.
Mhm. Mhm.
Can you conquer him? You'll deny him?
You. Let him die. Because I'm an evil, sadistic bastard.
See, she knows obviously the history and how it actually transpires. So yeah, bear that in mind as well. That she knows how it goes. You know how it ends.
Yeah, and she wants to try and save them. That's sort of what she's
But
trying to
she
do.
can't. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's you can't change history, not one line. Hmm?
But he had fun though, wearing that
He
like
did.
in the scenes, massive panther or whatever it is on top of his head.
Probably a jaguar.
Yeah.
See that we recognize that from the name of the Doctor, isn't it? When he's stealing the TARDIS, that's the bit the clip
Oh,
they
is that the bit they colorise and change?
Yeah.
Well, you literally gave him the tools to fucking kill him.
Well, not kill him, but wear him out.
Get your hands off me, son! How dare you!
How dare you? I love the music.
It's a bit James Bondy.
Yeah.
And this wouldn't have been if something like this wouldn't have happened in a small space. Like this would have happened in a massive arena in front of all the temples.
Oh God, yeah. To be fair, if you think about it, there's a lot of crossover between Roman culture and Aztecs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities between a lot of the different cultures, including the gods and their myths and their creation stories.
The
all
gods
very similar.
Borrowed. Literally, if you look at gods, what happens is majority of the time, one culture just nicks the other's gods, gives them different names.
Well, that's true to some degree, but there's some cultures that are so disconnected from other cultures by vast distances and not being in contact with each other, yet they all have the same stories, and that's fascinating to me. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that all this stuff that happened actually happened, but it was not gods, but it was the planets, and cosmic events happening in the sky.
Or if you look at creation, I would say more creation stories, that's true. Because obviously some of even the most fantastical creation stories, you think, God, there's nothing to like, but if you look into them, it's almost is like they all experienced either events outside of their realm
of understanding,
or maybe there's just like this. Maybe you could say there's, if you want to think spiritually, there is that sort of center point of human experience.
It's an interesting story about the Aztecs when the Spanish conquistadors first arrived. You had all the sort of Aztec military sort of looking out to sea, and they saw they couldn't see the ships arriving because they had no field of reference. They had no point. They saw the breaking of the water and the waves, but they didn't see the ships. They couldn't describe them.
Yes,
it's like phantom ships, but like they said there's a disturbance on the water because they'd never seen anything like it, so they just couldn't see it, basically.
Oh no, it's like that's why it's a weird example, but one of my favorite Disney movies is Pocahontas. And I actually think the way they show when the English arrive and the sort of the way the natives in that
Spanish.
movie... No, in Pocahontas.
Oh, okay.
So there's a link, trust me. It's to do with what you're saying to do with ships. Just made me think of a scene in Pocahontas, because when the English arrive in that, they describe the sails as clouds.
Yeah.
They say, there's a load of clouds coming. And it's because, like I said, they wouldn't understand to describe a big, long, proper ship.
Yeah, that story's taken from the Spanish invasion of the South America. So that was actually something that was described at the time, they didn't see the ships. They just saw the breaking of the waves, against the ships, but they didn't see the ships and see. So I mean, I think that's borrowed from that. So I think there is definitely a connection.
Oh yeah, but it's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Obviously, you've got invading force coming towards natives.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like UFOs to us. I saw a light in the sky, and I don't know what it was.
That's what I mean. That's what I was getting at. Almost, you can go back hundreds of years, but human experience, when it comes to coming across the unknown, it's really similar. It's just different. Different words, different descriptions.
Yeah. There we go. Press 1, you bastards.
Now, because if you don't, you're in big trouble.
Got a couple already there.
Grand. Just give me a second now, because this thing was loading up perfectly fine. Now all of a sudden it's decided to prick me around, but we're there now. So whenever you're ready, Queen Charlotte.
Yep. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
We're on episode 3, folks, of the Aztecs. Anybody's come in late, episode 3.
I love that.
Well. William Hartnell's the Fourth Doctor. Screw you.
Oh yeah.
Timeless child can get to hell.
Yep.
Yes, they can.
Well, we'll see what he does in a couple of weeks first.
Oh, nobody gives a shit anymore. It doesn't matter anyway what he does. I'll still be watching RTD.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I actually don't now. Let him do whatever he wants. RTD is just gonna reboot it anyway, so I don't really give a shit.
Barbara being a badass.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now this thing is pausing. Why is this pausing, man?
Because it's you.
Oh, for God's sake. She always does it though. She brings him out when there's people out in the hall and she knows how he's going to react. Like, keep him in until they go out or do whatever they're doing. Well, he cheated anyway. Right? And if he cheated, he doesn't deserve to fucking win. Simple as that.
Yeah, poor Ian. He never gets a break, does he? Like last story, he was charged with murder.
Crash this, right? And then you'll have to give me a timestamp.
But then, even though I do love Ian, he was a bit of a battering ram. He was the one who would just like get stuck in and get involved. Hence him getting in trouble half the time. That's what just make me laugh. Like, obviously the thing of it's always the female companion that gets like screaming and captured and all that. And I'm like, Jamie got captured half his life.
Yeah.
Ian gets captured half his life. If anything, in Classic, I know obviously New Who's different beasts, but in Classic, I'd say the male companions get just or even more sort of threat or, you know.
Although I lost count how many times Tegan got
God,
possessed.
yeah.
Right, Charlie, you give us a timestamp because if I'm correct, you're watching it on the site that we normally watch it on.
Yeah, I'm on 3 minutes, like 20, coming up to now.
Right, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Alright, we'll go 3:45 because it still seems to be. I don't know what it is, but I think everybody's internet around the world. Yeah, there's something going on, man. There's something going on.
You think they would have fixed it by now?
Scotland as well. I'm telling you, we're coming to end times. We're all going to be dead. So you never know. We might be dead before the Chibnall actually finishes his nest. So that'll probably be a blessing in disguise.
Oh, don't, because like you're making me think like we've got 3 more flaming specials after this stupid.
I know.
Like, wouldn't it have been nice? Wouldn't it have been so nice if we would have had like 2 more episodes and then New Year, and then it would have been done. That would have been lovely.
Yeah, it's like as if he's just dragging it out now. Here you grumpy hole, teddy bear. Right, but still, man, you know not to bring him out when there's kids in the bleeding hole, eh?
And you know who it is? Little downstairs. What are you shushing me for?
I'm dreading this. Oh, I'm not dreading this. Come in to me in 2 minutes and I'll sort you out. Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounded bad to everybody that's listening to the stream right now.
I will leave him with you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
It's your
Oh, and of course it is. What are you doing up here anyway?
I know she's got a friend, and plus when I took Ted down the lift, they started meowing like a cat and sent him off. So I intentionally went the other way. And now they're left outside of
They don't even live on this fucking
I know.
Come here, you. Why are you being a little grump today? Come here. So you want to sit up with Daddy because you know you're being bold.
Because you didn't give him steak.
You still don't mad because I didn't give you some of my steak? Are you?
Yeah, sounds like something a dog would do.
Seriously, man, he was pouting. He ran into Cheryl. He did, right? And he was sitting up on the bed and he was giving a real sad face because I wouldn't give him any steak. Yeah, he gets real emotional. He goes, "Don't you, little fella? You're angry at Daddy because I didn't give you steak."
You should see what my animals are like when we have a roast. It's like suddenly I call it the RSPCA face. Because you know those adverts.
That's actually a good one.
So I'll say to my parents, "Oh, the dog's doing RSPCA face," and they know now exactly what face I'm referring to.
Are you all right, buddy? Are you? He's still angry at me, are you? Are you? He was actually snuggled up with me last night when I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning. He was literally on his back with his paws up in the air, sleeping beside me. Lying on my pillow with me, little shit.
Yeah, little dogs love to do that.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Luckily, ours is a lab, so she lives downstairs.
Oh, by the way, he won't let me and Cheryl. It's her, as you know, it's her anniversary. So me and Cheryl were, look, we've been kind of smooching, let's just say. And he's having none of it. He's like growling at me and all. And like, I'll say, watch, you probably do it now. Will I give Mommy a kiss? Oh, you're acting all shy now because you know we're on stream. Go on, do what you do every time I say give Mommy a kiss. Go on.
Maybe because Cheryl isn't in the room with you.
He keeps growling. He'll growl. Yeah. Actually, I just want to say I see Peter's in the chat. He sent Cheryl a nice little message yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Talking about the stuff that happened in the chat as well. I just want to say thank you for the kind words. We really appreciate it. But as you can see today, they don't bother because we're doing Classic Who because, you know, it bores the crap out of them. Oh, buddy. Oh, you're like a little baby today. Yeah, all right. Oh, did the kids annoy you? Oh. Yeah, do you want to get down? Okay, I'll get you down, but don't bite me, man, because turn around. Good boy. There, go on over and get some food in here. Go on. Fat chops. That's your new nickname now, Fat Chops. Thank you, Noel. I love this story. Yeah, it's actually, believe it or not, it's actually, I'm enjoying this. That's why I'm not really saying that much, but yeah, I really am enjoying this. I just love William Hartnell in this. It's, you know, you could, like, he's an old man, but you could tell he's just a giddy little child. Like, and then he's nearly responsible for Ian dying as well at the same time. Like, the Doctor's a bit of a contradiction.
I just feel so sorry for this poor woman. She's like, oh, I give my self to you with my whole heart. And he's like, no, it's not happening.
Sorry, dear. No.
It's like, I've got a wife in Gallifrey. Leave me alone. Oh, not from Gallifrey anymore. Sorry, you're from planet fucking whatever it is.
Oh, we don't know you. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm only joking. To me, the Doctor will always be from Gallifrey. Barbara, this is all your fault anyway.
Gone to her head a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, you're letting it get to her head a little bit, isn't she?
But I think she sort of represents the 20th century, looking back on the olden times and ancient times, and sitting in judgment. You know, acting as a goddess. You know what I would do to change them, and it's like, well,
she is trying to do good, but unfortunately, you know, as we said earlier, this was their customs, this was their way of life, and who was she to kind of try change all that? She had no right, you know. It's like as if we had a time machine, we were back in the Egyptian times, just say, right, and I've got my morals standing of today, right? I couldn't impose my morals and my beliefs.
Well, it'd be completely alien, you know. What do you mean we can't have any slaves? Like, what?
Exactly.
If we go down well.
It'd be like, who the hell do you think you are? I'd probably be sacrificed for saying something like that.
Well, you wouldn't last very long, that's for sure.
No, of course I wouldn't. No, I'd admit that.
Or imagine if you like tried to say, okay, so do you know your whole system about the afterlife? And you do that whole really in-depth ritual about mummifying people. Yeah, there's no afterlife. The body's just going to go to dust. That wouldn't go down well.
I wonder how the other doctors would have dealt with this situation. You know, like if this was Peter Davison or Tom Baker. Would they have allowed Barbara or a companion to be put in this position where they could effectively change, you know, events in history and all the troubles that could cause, or and putting everyone in danger, put herself as well? It's quite interesting to see what a more sort of, I mean, obviously Hartnell's the first, so what a more developed character version of the Doctor, like, you know, one of the latter ones, because obviously, you know, the character is more defined in terms of who he is and what it's about.
See, I don't see Davidson trying to force her to stop, just because I don't see that in his.
Can you imagine if Tegan was in charge? Oh my god!
Well, if it was Tegan, then he would stop her.
Yeah, like no, God.
No, if it was Tegan, he would say.
Can't put her as a goddess. God, that would be insufferable.
Fair as have to give it to her there. She really fucking put him in his place. But here, it is a bit off topic, and I just want to mention this because I do think this is serious, right? So, this Holly Starr's account apparently went outside J.K. Rowling's house, took a photograph, and put it up on the internet for everybody to see. And because now they've been called out, they're playing the victim and calling people transphobic. Well, maybe you shouldn't have went and took a picture of someone's private residence and threw it up on Twitter in the first place because you obviously don't agree with stuff that J.K. Rowling has had to say. It screams to me, you know, that you're a bunch of fucking twats anyway, and you need to grow a set. The fact that you did that and you think you can get away with it, I'm glad you got called out. Yes, I don't agree with the transphobic comments if there has been some,
Who
But
hasn't?
But the fact that she's are all like, you know, screaming victim now. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. You reap what you fucking sow. So if you went and did that and you have openly admitted now an hour ago that you did that, well then you deserve every fucking bit of crap that gets thrown away. Except obviously none of that. I don't agree with all that transphobic stuff. But Lee said there was none, so I'll take Lee's word for it because Lee would. Been following.
Well, I mean, you know, these terms get thrown up. But all she's done is, I mean, she's supported trans rights, trans people, all the rest of it.
She's just fighting for women.
She's defending women's rights.
Exactly,
first.
that's all she's doing. And yeah, but look, we don't look. As I said, I'd be a hypocrite if we talk about her. I just seen it there and I went, wow. How can you now like suddenly play a victim when you went and did something as shitty as that? Shut the fuck. You know what I mean? And I will say one more thing. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but the fact that she's been told that she's not going to be part of the 25th anniversary is absolutely ridiculous. Without JK, you wouldn't have you as our precious Harry Potter, right? I think it's disgrace. This society has completely fucking imploded, man, in itself, man. We're fucked. We're fucked. I'm moving to a country that treats all people properly because I'm not staying fucking here because there's been some horror stories here as well. It's fucking absolutely disgusting what's happening, the young and the old. Well, I'll say no more now. I've said my piece. Yeah, I have to say now, Susan looks well in this episode. She hasn't done much, but she looks well, doesn't she, in that costume?
It's because they're actually dressing her like a woman. I've noticed that they gave her a bit some like quite, I don't say like manly clothes because they weren't, but they're actually making her look a bit pretty for once, which is nice.
Yeah. And now they're trying to pair her up with someone. Now she's not having any of that. I'm an independent woman of the 60s. Like her acting ability for back then was okay. If you were to put her in something today, well, they did with something, and it didn't work out great. Oh, we lost Real Super Doctor.
Oh, he'll come back in a minute, Godfather.
It'll be the internet. It'll be the internet. Poor Barbara. If she was to succeed, it could lead to temporal paradox, as it would be unlikely that in the new timeline she would have been born, says Robert Campbell Stonebanks.
Yep, it's the old butterfly effect. That's why you can't mess with history.
Actually, that's a very good point there, I have to say. These are all very knowledgeable in the chat, I have to say, and on the panel.
Well, what was it last one? Last classic stream, we ended up having like a little Tudor history thing near the end. I don't know how we got onto that, but we somehow managed to.
Well, this is the way you do historicals, and this is the way a certain Chibnall should have fucking done his as well. You know, that's how you do the historicals properly. You can bring someone into a historical episode and do what Barbara has done, but do it this way. If it was done with the other fella, of course, it'd be a completely different way.
Well, no, but if it's done with the other fella, the doctor wouldn't reprimand Barbara. That's the thing in this story. You're showing one perspective of Barbara, and then you've got the doctor, who's basically saying you have to look at the bigger picture here. You can't just let your own emotions and your own convictions be what you go with, because if you change too much, big picture, everything's gonna paradoxes and all that. Even though he didn't say those terms, that's what I think it's clear what he's referring to. And that's the interesting thing. Like the companion, yes, at times needs to reprimand the doctor and needs to sort of make the doctor see maybe things a different way. but the doctor has to do it back. It has to be like a mutual sort of respect in that fashion, that either person can call the other out. It can't be all one-sided. Because the other thing is obviously Barbara's in the middle of a political game here. You've got the fella with the paint over his lips and the chief, who are basically vying for control, and she's sort of stuck in the middle.
now the doctor's been, forced into a marriage he wasn't expecting. Now all of a sudden he wants to get the fuck out of there. Never mind that Ian nearly got killed or Barbara's putting herself at risk. Now he's going to be facing marriage. Okay, we're going to go now.
yeah. Lee, he's a typical bloke. Wants commitment in the picture.
Run away.
Don't want to be tied down. But like I said, he was joking about it, but the doctor's still quite selfish at this point. He's not become the sort of like the type to help everybody yet. He's still quite early, he's still quite selfish at this point. Because it's almost a shame, because if you think about the new run, they've not really done ancient history. I know they've done Pompeii. I was just trying to think of stuff that I would class as ancient, but they've not done a lot of it. Compared to obviously in this series, we've had caveman, we've had Aztecs. Like that's really early. And it'd be interesting to see if maybe Russell has a go at maybe something that is as old as the Aztecs when he takes over.
Right, unrelated question here. It's about alcohol, right? So I bought a couple of gin and tonics in a can. I've never drank gin before or had gin and tonics. Anybody a gin and tonic fan here? And if so, is it a nice drink?
My dad drinks it. He has it whenever. That's his choice at night. So I've never had it, but my dad quite likes it.
Right. Well, I'm gonna probably have a gin and tonic tomorrow when I'm watching. I might have one tonight. I don't know. But I got a couple of alcoholic beverages. Cheryl got her I don't know what the fuck. What you drink? Oh, vodka and whatever she's drinking now.
Raspberry and rhubarb tonic water.
Okay, that's what she's having right now. Yeah. You might as well celebrate our wedding anniversary in style.
You mean while I'm celebrating in the other room?
Well, I'm celebrating watching Doctor Who. But we're poor real super doctor. He must have had to reboot. There he is. There he is. As soon as I talk about.
Actually, we did spend 2 full days together the whole day, yesterday and today.
Yeah, we did. And we we didn't try and kill each other, which was great.
We were a lot.
Yeah.
Never taking you to food shop again.
Yeah, that was food shopping was a disaster, folks. Yeah. Yeah, of course I am. There's too many humans walking around.
And
Folks,
here we go.
I don't care. Look,
Humans, no.
I'm going
Humans.
to on topic about your show. I'm taking my beverage.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing about it is, right?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, everybody walking in with their masks on. That's fine. No problem with that. Everybody walks around the shop with their mask on, right? But as soon as they're literally leaving the entrance, about 4 feet away from the entrance, they take their mask fucking off. I'm like, it defeats the fucking purpose of wearing it in the first fucking place, doesn't it? Anyway, I'll shut up, Mom. And here he is, all the way from Scotland. It's the one and only real super Ghostbuster.
Back again. Dropped out there.
Change your name. It's not real super Doctor anymore. It's real super Ghostbuster now.
Yeah, well, can I change my logo a wee bit?
Yeah, good. I cried like a baby. By the way, just a bit of sad news though on the Ghostbusters front. Apparently, Ghostbusters Afterlife is projected to do worse than the 2016 version. So I want to say congratulations to all the salty critics out there. You've done your job. You wanted this movie to flop, and it looks like it is, even though it shouldn't, because it's an absolute masterpiece of a movie. But you've got yours away, all jealous because the 2016 version flopped and nobody liked it. And you're literally contradicting yourselves with your reviews because you were saying, we hated Ghostbusters 2016 because there was a female lead. The fucking lead of this lead movie is female, you fucking morons.
Yeah, but they don't count it because it's not their type of female lead. They won't.
Yeah, of course it's not. Because she's not roped in with the pot. Thanks be to God, she's not brainwashed. But she's absolutely fantastic, man. She is.
And even just from the trailers, she just looks like a sort of, if this film was set in the 80s, sort of typical nerd girl as the lead.
She's brilliant. She's brilliant. I seen her in Young Sheldon, so I knew she had talent. She's in The Handmaid's Tale apparently as well. But this was the first movie that I've seen her in, and she carried this movie very well.
Yeah.
She's an absolute superstar. And as I said, the end scene, I'm not going to say what happens, but the end scene doesn't move you to tears. Then you're dead inside. You might as well just like
See, I think there's reasons for why it's not doing so well now, is because of the beer bug now. I think that's kind of put a lot of people off going to the cinema.
I do, and it kind of pees me off. I know I've complained about this, but it should have went into cinemas and streaming services as well. Because we're never going to get a true to know exactly how successful this movie was. Because this is the best, folks. Listen, I've watched a lot of Hollywood movies over the last couple of years, and they've been absolutely dire. If Hollywood make more movies like this movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Hollywood will be in a much better position, and there'll be a shit ton of money to be made. This movie, I'm telling you now. Don't even take my word for it, but if you are thinking of going support this movie, I really, really believe that if you go and watch this movie, you will feel the same that we do. Is it perfect? No. It'll never beat the first one. That's the thing. The first one was a unique movie. Even the second one couldn't live up to the first movie. But this one definitely beats the second movie, in my opinion. I don't care. That might be controversial to some people, but this is the movie, the sequel that fans were waiting for 30 years, and I can confidently say that this is the sequel. And you know what? It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait. And I'm telling you, I never thought I'd cry at a Ghostbusters movie, but I did. And not only that, I laughed, I jumped for joy. It did. I felt like I was a little boy again watching this movie. It doesn't matter that the lead is a little girl, right? I felt like a little boy watching this movie again. I got very emotional watching this movie all the way through. It was just, oh man, I can't wait for it. I hope you are going to watch it because I can't wait for you to watch it. And then when it comes out properly, what we're going to do is we're going to do a watch along because I want to see people's live reaction while we're watching it. and hear what they thought. But if you're not crying by the end of this movie, you're dead inside. You're dead inside. And even some of the critics saying it was boring, it was predictable, and it had no heart. These are talking out, these are backsides. This movie was all heart. It had the fan service, which there's nothing wrong with that either, but it moved the franchise on. And that's what Ghostbusters fans wanted as well. Move this franchise on. And as I said, Ghostbusters is back, baby. Give me my sequel. I want me sequel. I want me sequel, man. Right. I'm going to shut up now because I'm fanboying here. But sorry, I can't help it. I really can't. This is the best movie that I have seen since the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. That's how good I think it was.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So with that, I'll leave it. Charlotte, I think everybody will be already ready, but we'll just make sure. Everybody in the chat, press 1 if you're ready for the last episode. Episode 4. And it's called The Day of Darkness. Ooh. We probably have to turn on the lights there.
Yeah, they're probably like pulpy sort of fiction titles, aren't they?
Yep.
You can't leave it alone, Noel, can you? You just can't leave it alone. I'm pissed off with you now.
Leave what alone?
You.
Leave what alone, though?
You and your evil plan.
What's
to
the evil plan?
To denigrate anyone who loves pineapple on pizza. You can't leave it, can you?
Oh, that. Well, listen.
Evil.
Listen, if Domino Pizza is gonna come out like with crap about pineapple on pizza, and you were disgusted because someone removed that pineapple on pizza, I'm gonna.
Which is a crime,
right?
Frankly.
Pineapple on pizza is disgusting, Lee.
You are a heretic, and I disavow you utterly.
What did you call me? A pineapple phobe or something? Was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like pineapple, right? No, it wasn't pineapple racist. That sounds stupid.
Best pizza ever. Ham and pineapple.
No way, man. No way.
Oh, baby.
Right, before we get into a full-blown argument about pineapple.
No argument, you're just wrong.
Charlotte, go ahead. I can see
I'll start.
By the way, before you do start, do you like pineapple on pizza?
No.
Right, brilliant. Right, do your countdown.
So 5, 4,
Flipping weird.
3, 2, 1, go.
Pineapple.
Well, to be fair, Lee, I am like the
weirdo on this panel, and it's you, mate. Pineapple.
No. It doesn't work like that.
It's like anchovies. Anybody that puts anchovies.
No. Look. There's a big difference between salty, hairy fish and pineapple. Okay.
Actually, didn't Deadpool do that in the first movie? He put anchovies and pineapple on a pizza.
No, that is an abomination.
Yeah, he says he likes the sweet and salty, and I was like, ugh!
Well, it is Deadpool.
In fairness, this pineapple on pizza thing, debate has been raging for fucking years, man. Even chefs have had blatant arguments over it. It's never gonna go away.
No, it's like this whole scone and scone thing in Britain. That argument's never going to go away.
Yeah, I call it scone.
I think I use both. If I'm not thinking about it, I say scone.
Right.
But if I'm thinking about it, I say scone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think in Ireland we call it scone, but in the older generation call it a scone, like what you said. So I mean, look, it depends. But it's still that argument is still not as bad as pineapple on pizza. So, and someone just wrote, "Who eats Domino's anyway?"
Oh, trust me, when you're a student, that's half your diet.
You literally called me wrong and evil on Twitter. Oh, that's war. That's war. That's war. I'm going to do a whole stream why pineapple doesn't go on pizza now just to piss you off. Yeah.
I love the fact that Lee's not even interacting with you.
He's not even replying.
You've annoyed him that much.
I know, yeah.
He's not even giving you a... That's a sign that when problems really annoyed with you, I've noticed.
Pineapple on pizza. It's like when you buy Uncle Ben. Oh, it's not Uncle Ben's anymore. It's
No,
Ben's.
it's Ben's.
Ben's original. When you buy the sweet and sour and it has big chunks of bleeding pineapple in it, fucking disgusting, man. Pineapple with rice as well. Like, come on, leave it out. It's a fucking fruit.
And so is tomato. You put that.
Yeah, I know tomatoes are fruit, but that's different.
No, it's
It
a
is?
fruit. No,
Oh, for God's sake! I know it's a fruit, but it's different.
no, it's not different.
Yes.
No, it isn't. It's a fruit. It's a fruit. It's a fruit.
Maybe me and Lee should have a pineapple on pizza debate. What do you reckon, folks? Lee can give these reasons why pineapple goes with pizza. Maybe I can come up with reasons why pineapple doesn't go on pizza, and then everybody can argue in the chat. Then
Pineapple and cheese always go. Like the 70s, they understood that very well with their little cocktail party.
Yeah, and nobody does that anymore. Pineapple on a stick. With
No, because
cheese
we have it on pizza because that's where it belongs. It's found its spiritual home.
Oh my God! I can't believe you called me evil.
Well, it is a bit evil, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Evil.
You're wrong and you're evil.
I'm not. Right, one person agrees with you in the chat only. Only one person.
It doesn't. It's not about consensus, mate. It's about reality, mate. It's about...
See the pineapple. See when it melts and the juices melt, and then it merges with the ham. It makes the ham taste funny.
Oh, for God's sake! You're not a pineapple on pizza person too.
I don't really like
No,
it.
he was just saying it tasted funny.
Yeah.
How does it taste? Listen, people have honey on their bloody ham, and that's fine. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, it is, because you put it in the fucking oven and you roast the thing.
Yeah, and you do the same with an oven, with a pizza, you dumb son of a bitch. Honestly.
You don't put an oven in an oven.
No, you put a pizza in an oven.
Right, back to
You walked into that.
What, into the oven?
But you can even put a pizza in the deep fryer.
Oh, no way. No, you're the
No, you're Scottish.
Yeah, look, we're talking
No,
about
that doesn't
Scottish
count.
people who put everything in the deep
Fry Mars bars, don't they?
including small animals, probably.
Well,
Half a pizza stopper.
Deep fried Mars bars are lovely, though.
I've never had a deep fried Mars bar.
Oh, it's lovely.
Then you're not
With a bit of
Scottish.
ice cream.
I'm
Gorgeous.
Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah, but you guys have haggis, and that just
Yeah,
went
this
my
is
point.
lovely. It's like-
Yeah,
No,
I
I
mean,
don't
you
like
eat stuff
haggis
and then
either.
goat's intestine or whatever it is, sheep's intestine.
I
Yeah,
mean, you literally-
they're not allowed to use that anymore. It doesn't pass the EU rules now. So
Yeah, we're not in the EU.
You're not in the EU
See,
anymore.
Scotland should be thanking us. You can have proper haggis.
in the EU, but they still follow when it comes to the food safety standards. They still follow the
For
food
now.
safety standards of Europe. They don't
That's the
use the
transitional
intestines anymore. They make haggis completely different now, but it's lovely. You haven't had haggis, you haven't lived.
Well, I'm fine. I think
I'm happy
Considering-
not living.
it is literally the equivalent of, that's like what you find on the side of a road. Let's just put it that way.
I've never had black pudding. I'm never going to have black pudding. I've never had haggis. I'm never going to have haggis. Pineapple and pizza, I'll have. Yeah.
Pineapple on a pizza is the best, as Robert Campbell style.
There you go. Good man.
Black pudding, dried pig's blood.
No thanks.
Yeah,
Why?
pig's blood is actually black. Is actually black pudding.
Yeah,
So-
black pudding's a load of things that I'm like, Lee, I'm like, bleh, like,
I love black pudding.
No, I don't like
Oh,
black
see,
pudding.
that's why you can't enjoy pineapple and pizza because you've ruined your taste buds,
I'll
man.
tell you what I'll do. One day I will get. I was a kid the last time I had pineapple on the pizza. I'll tell you what
Right,
I'll
I
do.
challenge you.
Next time that we're ordering a pizza, I will get a pineapple and ham on my pizza, and I'll do a live stream while eating it.
This makes me happy.
Right? And then you'll watch me gag and get sick all over the computer screen.
Yeah,
Some
you'll
people
love
put
it.
chocolate in their pizza.
It'll change your life.
Oh no, I've had not like a proper pizza with chocolate, but basically something that's a pizza base and like chocolate on it. Yeah, I've had that.
Oh yeah, they do that in Domino's and all. Now
Yeah.
all the pizza shops do that. That's disgusting, man. Chocolate on a fucking pizza.
Oh,
White
I'm just seeing on
chocolate
YouTube.
pizza.
There's a sea salt ice cream.
What
Yeah.
pizza?
No ice
Sea
cream.
salt ice cream. Good
Okay.
God. That must be fun to eat. That must be so refreshing.
I do like salted caramel chocolate. The chocolate, yeah, I do like.
Salty caramel, I like.
Yeah, salty caramel. Yeah,
Mm.
and I do like the sea salt in chocolate as well. It gives it a nice kick. I have to say, I do. I will agree there. But pineapple on pizza is a fucking abomination and should be sent to hell.
And this is why you are evil and wrong.
At least when Lee calls you evil, it's just over like pizza.
I know,
Not
but this is Lee. Lee
Got to
will
draw a
always-
line somewhere.
He will always defend his point of view, and that's why I love him, because he does, and he won't back down. If he really has strong opinion about something, he doesn't back down, and that's what I
Oh
like.
yes, we know that. Me and Lee have been like that the last couple of weeks on the Flux streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have, and fair play. He's stuck to his point of view.
No, I really highly recommend checking out some of Charlotte's really good takes on the Spacebook's review of the Centauran thing.
Thing.
Yeah, actually talking about other channels, Gobby Guy 5 subs away from hitting his mark that he wants to hit from the end.
Oh, let's see if we can get him then. Let's see if we
So,
can get him then.
5 more subs he needs. So what I'm going to do now in a few seconds while everybody is talking there, I'm going to get up his channel. Go and support him, will you? Because he was thinking of quitting a few weeks back, and he's obviously feeling a lot better within himself as well as obviously he had the you know what, and he's on the mend now. So he's going to be coming back in full force. So what I'll do is I'll put his channel in the chat now in a second. I'll have to learn how to start doing this myself. So I'm going to go into YouTube now, go to his channel, and I'm going to put the link in. Please go and support him. Let's get him up to his goal.
It'd be nice for him to come back and see that as well.
Because, you know, he came up again as well when the Melina situation was going on. He came up with a great idea, and we were blown away by all the support. It was absolutely fantastic, and the video that he threw together was brilliant. Again, thanks everybody for supporting Melina, and she's doing a lot better, by the way, guys. Just to let you know, I do play Fortnite with her. It was nearly every night, but the last couple of nights I've just had a bit of a turn off that game. Although we'll probably play it later on if she's around. But there's Gobby Guy's channel in the link in the chat, and I'm gonna put Daniel's channel in there too, because you know Daniel's the legend, and we have to put him in. He's got 216 subscribers. The channel's really grown. I have to say, very proud of him. Very proud of him. And his co-host is here with us tonight. So there's Daniel's channel as well. If I've done it right, they're all the right channels. And I'll even put in Mr. Pineapple on Pizza's channel as well. Well, I'll put the 2 channels in, mate. Oh, you ignored me now.
What?
I said, I'm going to put Mr. Pineapple on Pizza's channel in. Am I putting the 2 channels in for you?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, am I putting the 2 channels in for you? Yeah, yeah.
Just put the Aldred.
Aldred.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, you're slightly less evil now.
No problem. No problem.
Bribery always works for you, then Lee, does it?
So we all know how to get on these good sides. Just share his channel.
Not that difficult.
There you go. There's that channel too. We'll put down the Facebook in as well because Charlotte does be on that channel.
You can see me almost like cry with laughter because of JT on the live stream this week.
There we go. 780 subscribers. Well done, Dan. Doing very well there too. Absolutely fantastic. A lot more people should be. He should have more subs than me anyway, to be quite honest with you. He puts out fucking great content. He'll get there eventually though.
Yeah, but I think it seems to be if you climb steadily, you keep the sort of momentum more than if you shoot up on YouTube. So it's probably better that he's slowly building it.
Exactly, just like I did, just like Daniel's doing. And that's the way to do it. You know, all of those people that go chasing subs, yeah, in the short term, it's all great having all those subs. But in the long term, you know, people will see through it, you know what I mean? And it never lasts. It all ends in tears, it does. But if you build up your audience and build up your channel nice and easy, you do well. I mean, I won't mention the YouTuber's name, but I literally heard a YouTuber moan about going live. And the only reason why they were going live is because the people wanted them to go live. But that's not sending out a very good message to your bloody audience. You know, you don't tell them you don't want to come on. You're only coming on because people are moaning at you because to come on. That's not how it works. Who else channel will I put in there? Actually, I'm going to put in Matrix Lord as well. Did you see his song? Matrix Lord did the song.
Yes, I did. Yes.
That was funny, man. That was funny.
And a certain person didn't seem to like it very much.
No, didn't. But that's what you get for trolling everybody. So, like, fair play to Matrix Lord. There's Matrix Lord's channel as well. Who am I forgetting? Real Super Doctor, yes. And I'll put in what's his face? Alpha Omega as well.
What is that? What's his face?
Yeah.
I thought it was Mr. Passive Aggressive.
Yeah, he was passive aggressive last night as well. I was lucky I was tired. I just couldn't be arsed giving out. No, why is it saying Matrix Lord again? That's not the way it's supposed to work, buddy. Yeah. Well, now he'll be coming back soon anyway. This nightmare is nearly over. You know.
Yep, we've got 3 more. Well, we've got 2 more after tomorrow night.
And then the New Year special, yeah. Right, there's Real Super Doctor's channel as well. He's on the panel, so go and subscribe as well. There you go. I'm actually getting good at this now. Be the last fucking time I'm doing it.
You almost sound like Lee when he's typing away.
Shit, poof, poof, poof.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee goes like, but the difference between me and Lee is you can hear me tapping individual buttons. Yeah, Lee is just like 90 miles an hour, and you can hear him pressing multiple buttons because he's actually very good at typing. Whereas I only use one.
No, I'm just very good at making typos.
Who else did I say I was put? Oh yeah, Alpha Omega. Now watch this. Alpha's channel is always hard to find because
I think it's certain names, isn't it? YouTube.
Yeah.
With.
Yeah. So I have to literally write in Alpha Omega Faulty Towers, right? And then his channel comes up. There you go. It's actually weird. There we go. We've got him anyway. Yeah, it comes up YouTube user D5AK88. It doesn't come up his name. It's weird, like. Actually, maybe he should change it to the way he has it on his wallpaper there, the Alpha Omega channel. Maybe he should call it the Alpha Omega channel on his yoke, and it might actually come up then.
We can have a chat with him, see what he thinks.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think he wants to really talk to me right now. And don't forget, I've been tired and shit has happened this week. Me and Lee will be doing that watch along of last night in Soho, and then we'll be sitting down then and we'll have a little discussion about what other movies we're going to do. Now, I'm not bringing back the movies on, right? It's only to make it up to Lee for putting them through Doctor Who Flux. So, I'm all about, I'm all about making it up to me mates. So I'll make it up to him, and he'll pick. I said we've agreed on the fourth movie, right? So what we'll probably do is I'll get Lee to pick one, and then I'll pick one, right? But we're not going to pick mainstream movies. So Lee, if there's a unique movie out there or a movie that's not really mainstream that you want to watch, then that's no
like some
problem.
proper like art house type of stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
one of my favorite films of all time is an art house movie.
What is it?
It's called Baghdad Cafe.
Right. Will we be able to get that?
I should think so. I'll have a look.
Yeah, right. Well, if that's your choice, then that's fine, fair enough. But obviously, you haven't made up your mind yet. But if you want to watch that, that'll be no problem. I'll give it a go because I did promise you. So I suppose I have to suffer. Let me see. So I've put everybody in. I think. I'm just trying to think of someone else. If there's anybody else. Actually, what's his face? You'd be in his chat on Messenger. The Dutch channel. What's that channel called again?
Dutch Doctor Who channel.
It's called the Doctor Who channel.
Dutch Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Right, I'll put that channel in.
And if you're struggling, put in personality of the Doctor. For if it's like an alpha thing and you need to put a stream with it.
Oh no, there it comes up straight away. There you go. 50 subs. Not bad. That's he's only on YouTube, so that's very good. Very good.
I think on Monday, which one are we doing?
Yeah, he's doing the personality of the Ninth Doctor. It says set reminder. So
yeah, so we're finally on New Who now. We've gone through all the classic Doctors, so which matches the classic what we're doing now. So we've done all the classic
on that channel too, yeah.
When I can make it, yeah.
Oh, fantastic, Jays! You're doing the rounds. You're just as bad as Lee when he was here.
Oh, no.
You know.
What did I do now?
Well, you used to just float yourself around on everybody's channel. Charlotte's doing the same as well now. Well, fair play to you, I have to say. Fair play for when you all four started off. No, now look at you all now. So they're all doing your own thing and doing great. I'm delighted for you all. Well, I have to say the person that I'm most proud of is Daniel. He's come a long, long way since those early days. Very passionate person.
Hopefully he's enjoying his football tonight. That's why he's
in. Yeah, he's watching the football. He put a photograph up on Facebook. He's all ready to go. Yeah, he was talking to me about that. We had a chat off stream when we finished our stream last night, and we were talking about the football actually. And you could hear it in his voice. he was very excited to go to the football. So I hope they win. Hope he didn't.
I'll be able to tell by what mood he's in tomorrow
I know.
when he messages me. I'll be like, oh, they've either won or lost.
Well, let's hope for his mood sake that they win. Actually, I'm going to check the score now.
That was dark, isn't it?
They won 1-0. They're in the final, so he's going to be in great form.
Yeah,
he's going to be in great form now.
He'll be buzzing tomorrow then.
Yeah, he's going to be in great form. They got to the cup final. They won 1-0.
Which means he's probably going to tease me no tomorrow. I'll be like, my team won. If you got to watch Chibnall tomorrow, I'll be like, yep.
Yeah.
So the sacrifice happened. I mean, that's quite dark, isn't it? Really, for the story to end with a sacrifice.
Yeah, I was thinking. I don't think they would have gotten away with doing the Aztecs in any other era. I think they got away with it because it was the beginning. I think any other era would have been too dark, or they would have heavily had to have changed how they did the story.
You should never mess with history. Or try changing, like they're trying to do nowadays. Even though it happened and you can't really change it, but they'll change the way it's written.
They can change the perception.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word. That's the word, Charlotte. See, this is why I have you on, man. I can never come out with the proper words, but you always do. You make me look good. So, like, that's... Sorry, you make me look stupid, but it doesn't matter. It's all good. So, now what's for next week's story? Because I want to get this sorted.
The censor rights.
Now, what?
The censor rights.
Rights.
Right, but it's that whole story there, yeah?
Yeah.
We've watched it before, I think. So, yeah.
Right. So, that's the next week's story on Classic Who. So, come and join us for that. And what we do now is guys, we get everybody on the panel and anybody that's new to the channel. What we do is we get a review of every member on the panel, and then they rate it out of 10. So if you guys in the chat can also do the same, tell us your thoughts on the story. Obviously, in the chat, you will have to keep it brief because I think you only have 250 letters or something like that. So, and then give your rating as well. That would be absolutely fantastic. Right, we'll start with the Queen first anyway. Actually, you've got an hour to go. We'll leave you to last. I'm only messing. Go ahead, Charlotte. Tell us what you thought of this complete story and give your rating as well.
Yeah, no, I sort of like how Barbara is sort of like Super Doctor was saying, very front and center. She's sort of trying to make change happen, and you can completely understand why. But you've obviously got the Doctor being like the sort of almost voice of reason and being the opposing argument, and it's interesting to see them sort of very much play off each other in this story and see them sort of come to an understanding, I think, by the end. Like, Barbara's not completely changed her views, but she sees the Doctor's view, and she sort of sees what he's trying to tell her, at least. Yeah, and I like how the sort of the political side with the two leaders, you see a lot of them like playing off, trying to trick the other and trying to use Barbara or use other people to try and get their sort of means done. So that's a nice way to do that sort of thing. Like we were saying, the Aztecs are fascinating and they don't sort of shy away from the darker aspects of the Aztecs, which is really good. So yeah, because it's a 4-part, there's not much padding. It's quite good pace. It's sort of there's nothing that feels a bit fillery in this story. So I'd give this an 8. I remember I liked it when I first watched it, so it's still an 8 for me.
Absolutely brilliant. We'll go with you, Real Super Dog. We'll leave Lee to last, as always. We'll go with you next, Real Super Doctor.
I would give this a 9 out of 10. It's a really good story. It's a dark story. It's a tale about time travel and about interfering with time and the consequences of that. I loved Jacqueline Hill's performance as Barbara in this, and I loved the first Doctor's performance in this as well by William Hartnell. It's completely a totally different story from the Keys of Marinus the previous week. So I'll give that a 9 out of 10.
Fantastic. And I just want to pick up on something that the panel's already said so far about how she tried to meddle with her morals, but if you look at it in the end, even though her beliefs have kind of skewed a little bit, but in the end, no matter how much she tried to change history, this human sacrifice still happened. As Lee said, it happened at the end. It still ended with the sacrifice. So there's that side of it as well. For me, I have to be honest, actually, I don't remember watching this one when we did it the last time. I don't know why. But I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 as well. I thought this was a highly enjoyable story. The pacing was fine. It was actually, I agree, there was no padding. It just got straight to the point and bang. But anyway, this is what proper Doctor Who looks like, you J-bots. So I suggest you go and watch some proper Doctor Who, because what you are getting now is name only. So go and watch stories like this and educate yourself properly. When historicals are done like this, they do them properly. When Chris Chibnall does historicals, even with historical characters, he won't tell the truth about what these characters were really like. He'll give you a skewed the way he perceives her, like the way he sees her, and he's an absolute dope. He should actually educate himself before he starts doing historical. But this is how you do it. All you J-bots out there, go and watch something like this. Educate yourself. Lee?
Yeah, I think this is... the last time I watched this story was probably about a year ago now. I think I kind of enjoy it more than I remember.
Yeah.
I think William Hartnell's performance in this is exceptionally good. It's for me, I think it's his first real outing as this Doctor that we were more familiar with. Like he's developed the role, he's owned it so much more. I think by this story here, and Barbara as well. For all the sort of mistakes she makes, and the Doctor rightly pulls her up on, he's put her in that position really. And she handles it very well. And I think, we're kind of joking about how she's gone screwed up, but it's quite interesting to see a 20th century mindset trying to moralize and sit in judgment over a more primitive culture.
Yeah.
And how they respond to her, and the machinations of the priest class and the superstition and the ritual and all this stuff, which is, as alien as any alien culture would be as well. So that's also an interesting function of this story. Ian is, doing the hard graft, as he always does.
Getting beat up for it, as you
and bless him, he's the stalwart defender of the team, really.
Yeah.
Susan's sort of more on the background in this.
But the parts that she's actually in,
she's more in tune with learning the culture and being the perpetual student, which is kind of her role, I think, really. The sort of Richard III-esque kind of villain priest is quite an interesting character. You've got the duality between him and the other guy. I can never remember the names. And there is a sort of power struggle there between the believer and the non-believer. But it's quite an interesting story because this is where we sort of see the rules of the time travel. You can't change history, not one line. And Barbara's resignation at the end of that she has to abdicate her responsibility because she knows she can't change anything. She may have saved one person's life, but she can't change the events of history. Which is kind of a bit of a contradiction if you think about it, because you save one life, that is one line, you know. But at the end, you know, nothing really has changed. History must go on as it always has done, and that sacrifice at the end happened, and she knows it's happened, and the doctor knows it's happened, and it's this kind of resignation. It's quite a dark, sad ending, really. You know, that for all of that happened, you know, this noble cause to try and change things and to make things better, and it didn't do anything ultimately, and it can't. So there's a kind of powerlessness about it. It puts them in their place, really, and it sets the law of time quite early on, which is, you know, undone by this lot. Really, it has. So I think it's a pivotal story actually in the canon of Doctor Who. So I don't think we can sort of underestimate that impact. And I think it's very impactful ending. Yeah. I think it's quite slow. I mean, it's interesting how quickly it moves on, but it still feels quite slow and paced. I think that's generally a 60s Doctor Who thing, and in TV in general at that time. But it does move along quite effortlessly, I think, and the interactions between the Doctor and the woman who, you know, with her culture thinks that, you know, he wants to marry because he's taken the coffee beans. I think it's quite a touching little thing, but it's quite amazing how motivated the Doctor is suddenly when he's confronted with the prospects of marriage. Yeah. It doesn't matter that Ian's been poisoned and Barbara's like could be taken out by the priest class who want to, you know, kill her. But as soon as like there's a notion of him getting hit, he's like, right, we got to get out of here now. So I think that was quite unintentionally amusing. Yeah. I mean, it has its flaws, you know. It's, again, for me, my era of Doctor Who is the 70s Doctor Who. So the black and white era is always a bit more challenging for me. I still find William Hartnell's Doctor endearing and someone you can just endlessly watch, just his performance and his little eye movements and gestures and things, which are so beautifully nuanced. Yeah. So, you know, I'm quite pleased to have rewatched it again. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult when everyone's yabbering about pizza. Not my fault. And yeah, I think it's an important story actually in the era of Doctor Who, of Bill Hartnell's run. Yeah, I like the fact it had a dark ending. Actually, I think it's very positive. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Fantastic. You always have to be different anyway with the half, don't you? That's you. You wouldn't be Lee if you didn't.
Well, because I can't be too overly generous, but I can't be too stingy. So I think a 0.5 thing it's edging towards that better thing, but it just something just holds me back a little bit. That's it.
But this is the thing, the way Lee just described William Hartnell's performance. I think this is why a lot of us in the Doctor Who community are so outraged with what's happening now. When you look at his legacy and you look what he left behind, he left the show in a healthy state anyway. It was unfortunate. Look, I've always said this, and I do well believe this. The man was so passionate about this role. I know at first he wasn't really convinced, and then obviously when he got to play the character and stuff, then his mindset changed. But I honestly do believe if this man hadn't got sick, I firmly believe he probably would have played this for as long as he could.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, he would have.
This is why I will always defend his legacy. And this is why I've been so outspoken about what's currently happening, because it does desecrate everything that he done and the legacy that he built up and the legacy that was continued by every single other male doctor that took over the role after Bill. And this is why I'm so passionate about it. You cannot allow these type of things that are happening today happen without speaking up against them. If you truly believe, I do truly believe that his legacy, his personal legacy, is intact. But I think Chris Chibnall is trying to destroy the legacy of the show, as well as disrespect all of those great actors. And look, I even include Colin Baker in that. He's not my favourite doctor, you know that. But he did continue that role, and compared to Miss Whitaker, I think everybody, well, look, we have our favourite doctors. I'm not a fan of Colin Baker, but even I will admit that he's 10 times better than that, and that woman has produced on screen. And this is why I will always, especially what Chibnall said, it's unforgivable in my eyes. And it saddens me, because if he was alive today, I don't think he'd be down for all of this. I think he'd be quite vocal. I think Tom would want to be quite vocal about it, but he knows, and the people that surround themselves around Tom Baker would be very careful about what he says and would protect him after what happened to Peter Davison. So,
well, I mean, he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
And people who care about him wouldn't want him to be in that
exactly.
position. I'm sure if he wanted to speak his mind, he would anyway.
Well, he did say.
But I don't think he watches. I don't think he watches her anyway.
No.
I really don't.
But he did say though, if the audience didn't like it and it failed, then she should be gone. He did actually make that quote when she was forced
to kick her out.
Well, he never
kill her off. I think
Mm.
that's what you said. Kill her off. If she's not popular, kill her off.
But he never said that, and after that, I think he was very careful. But we do have a comment by Peter Harrington. And by the way, guys, do me a favor, if you haven't given the episode.
Hey, Melina.
Hi, Melina.
I'll see Melina's there. Welcome. If you want to give your score for the latest episode, please do, like Peter has done here. So this is what Peter wrote. He says, for me, 9 out of 10. Nice bit of darkness. Love how it opens the cantilever door. Okay, yeah. Costumes fab. Sets great for the time. Nice and eerie. John Ringham, good fun. Great story. Was this in Lime Grove? Anyone? But this was in Lime Grove Studios, wasn't it? That was the studios that kept having the water sprinkles going off, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the smaller one, wasn't it? The less sort of nice.
This set looks too big to be in that studio. Maybe I'm right. I don't know.
But in fairness, they could have made it look big, because you could still make things look big even though if they're in a
that's true.
space.
But it just seemed like a lot more sets than would fit in that small space.
Yeah. Well, remember, they weren't really in the TARDIS set much for this, so maybe they removed the TARDIS set and then just built. I don't know. I being honest, we haven't got a clue. Maybe it probably was some scenes, but I reckon a lot of it might have been filmed somewhere. I say it'd be too. I agree, probably too big. So that's the only score that we have there. Nobody else in the chat that's been watching along with us has actually given a rating.
Not fans of this serial? I don't know.
So, yeah.
The chat was a bit quiet tonight.
Yeah.
Must be the footy.
The only other person that was actually commenting was Robert Campbell, Stonebank. So if you want to leave, I know there's a few others as well. If you just want to leave your scores before we head off, please do. I don't like to miss anybody. And tomorrow I will be back for the Doctor Who Flux watch along. City of the Angels. City. Oh no. Sorry, not City of the Angels. Village. Why do I keep mixing bleed names up? Village of the Angels. But I have to be honest. I like the Weeping Angels, and I'm actually looking forward to this story. I hope it's a good story.
Just don't crucify us if we start seeing all the things that we normally see wrong with it.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, my main thing is do not give us a bloody origin, Chibnall. Just don't give us a bloody origin tomorrow of the Angels.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
Claire's in it. Now that Claire was with a kind of. It seemed like, you know how that in the Timeless Children that I forget that actor's name that was wearing the headset that was being brainwashed. That was actually an incarnation of the Doctor.
Oh, please don't tell us he's going to do another. Oh, I know where you're going with that then.
It's because I seen a picture of it online with her being brainwashed and shouting out her name and all that.
Cheryl was saying that I forget, because Cheryl was saying, so didn't they do a Weeping Angels origin story already? Were you wrong? Okay.
No, we still don't know like where technically they come from or how they technically got, like if they were like that state, they got turned like that. We don't know all that stuff. So I'm just like, Chibnall, don't tell us. Please don't.
Well, he's only doing this if he got permission off Stephen Moffat to do it, though, because the Weeping Angels are his creation. So
Not for him if he has.
If he's doing an origin story, well, then he would have having to get the green light off Stephen Moffat, I reckon.
Yeah, and so that means, no, let me correct myself. If that happens tomorrow, I'll also have words on the stream to do with Moffat then.
Yeah, I don't want to see an origin story, but I do want to see a good Weeping Angels story, because we haven't had the Weeping Angels in a while, and I do like the Weeping Angels. I just hope it's not all smoke and mirrors like the trailer, because again, trailers seem to be very deceiving for this series, like especially with the trailer with the Cybermen, and we thought the Cybermen were going to feature very heavily, and it turned out they didn't. So I hope it's not one of these. It's like 10 minutes in this village, and then they all start going off on different little adventures like they have been doing.
Oh, that's going to happen, mate. Come on.
Well, we'll see. I'm still trying to be optimistic here. I still believe that he's got 3 hours and he can actually do it. But I suppose if you think about it, he's not as smart as all of us. Because we probably would have had this tied up within 3 stories anyway. And a lot of Doctor Who fans out there are very intelligent, and they.
Well, if he was intelligent, smart, he wouldn't be doubling down. Well, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. He certainly wouldn't be doubling down on this child bollocks.
Yeah.
And that's
I'd say Robert in the chat has just said he's not one for giving scores.
Okay, fair enough. That's a personal preference. That's fine. There's no problem with that at all. Peter also says, thanks in the panel. You're all good fun, good balance of views. Yeah, look, I'll say it again. I think we have a great panel. Even when we do this disaster of an era. We've always been very balanced. We always do what the good things were, and we talk about the negative as well. We don't focus on the negative,
and we don't always agree. And
we don't always agree exactly. Sometimes we might come to actual physical blow. I'm only messing with that. We don't know.
There's something about Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's exceeding expectations. It's raked in 40 million.
Right. But if you've listened to particular YouTubers out there, they're saying it's under the projection and it's going to do worse. So I don't know what to believe now anymore, because, the media seem to have an agenda. We've seen that over the years. Yeah. Now it looks like that the YouTubers out there seem to have an agenda, and they're getting tied up in all this political nonsense as well. They've forgotten that they're pop culture channels. I mean, if you're going to talk politics, fine. set up a separate channel to do that and just stick your channel the way it's supposed to be. If you're a pop culture channel, you should remain a pop culture channel, you know. And if you want to talk politics, well, then set up another fucking channel. If you're that popular, you know, you'll get the views, you know. A lot of people seem to agree with each other nowadays.
It's just the idiots. They just want to break this film. They want to bring this film down because it's doing well. And any chance, it's just because it's lagging because of the pandemic thing and because it was delayed and all that.
Well, if you think about it, though, logically, John, you did say that, like, you're like they are saying that it'll make less money than the 2016 version right now in the first weekend, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, 2016 we didn't have a pandemic, right? So even with that, this is what I don't like. It's the way it's framed. You have to take everything into account. In 2016, people were still going to cinemas. Cinemas were selling out. Right? They're not selling out today because some people are afraid to go to the cinema. Right? So most cinemas are not full. Right? I'm not saying that there are no cinemas full because we have seen pictures even of those Marvel movies. There's still people going to the cinema, but there's a lot of people that are holding back. It's like, for example, here in Ireland, right? And I can't believe this because, as you know, we kind of like our drink over here. But even the pubs have been open now since they were allowed reopen, and there's hardly anybody in them because there's still people, you know, there's people living in fear basically, and they don't want to go outside the fucking door. So this is why the cinema. So if you take all that into account and it still made 40 million over the first weekend, well then, to me, I think that you have to look at that as a success, not a failure. Because as I said, 2016 had everything going for it. It had the audiences. Cinemas were full. People didn't know. People were curious to see this movie. They didn't know how bad it was actually going to be when they actually sat down to watch it. But this movie has had everything against it, like most movies that have been made during this pandemic. And you know, it's performing. I think, you know, look, this is what I don't like. YouTubers out there framing it that way. Whereas if you're going to do an analysis of it, well, then you have to take all factors into account. So if you're going to analyze Afterlife with the 2016 version, well, then you have to look at the facts. And the facts are cinemas were full when people were watching the 2016 movie and it still flopped, right? Because after that first weekend, word of mouth quickly spread, right? And then people start seeing images, and then people just chose not to go and see it. Even Ghostbusters fans, there's loads of videos back in 2016. If you go back and watch, there's people that have been long life Ghostbusters fans, and because they were hearing all of these things, they chose not to go and see the movie. Still to this day, there are Ghostbusters fans that have never seen that movie. So you've got to take that into account. And then the same, as I said, with this version, with the current situation that we're in. So the fact that it's made 40 million in its first, and that's domestic, by the way, isn't it? That's not
it would be.
That's domestic. So that's in the US. So 40 million domestic. That's absolutely wonderful. But the media spin it or hating on it because obviously the failure of the other one. And then you got YouTubers out there that are putting out these headlines that it's failed, it's lagging behind the 2016 version. For a guarantee, if you go in and you watch, they won't talk about the reasons why it has performed the way it's performed. And that's what I don't like now. And this is why I like the panel, right? Because we are balanced. I do agree, and we don't always agree. And that's what I love about it. You know, because we all had the same boring opinions. That's what the way I'd look at it. It would be boring. I like the fact that people don't agree with me on certain things that I've said about this series. And I'm glad they came back with their own points of view. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And so I have to be honest. If I was watching this channel from the outside and I wasn't running this channel, I'd say, yeah, this is a balanced channel. This is where you'll get balanced views. And that's not me being big-headed. I've just got wonderful people around me. You know? Glad I met you all, by the way. Just to let you know.
I'll tolerate you.
Yeah, shut up, you. But seriously though, I mean, we've all come together because of our love of Doctor Who, and you know, we've been very passionate. But we got a generational panel, like, you know, we got Charlotte, and who's this, not this generation. That'd be unfair to say because you're a lot smarter than most of them. But
Thanks.
we had Daniel on as well, and we've had a lot. Jack Main is another young fan. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I can never say his fucking name probably. But we've had him on. And then we have our old fogies like me and Lee and Alpha Omega and many more. Well, you know, at the end of the day, man, we're all fogies, and that's just the bottom line. We've had people on like Marty, so we do. Again, it's great to hear from Charlotte's point of view because Classic Who, when we start doing the watch along, she was watching a lot of these stories for the first time, and it was great to hear Charlotte's unique take on these stories. And Charlotte, as everybody knows, and she's killing it on other channels as well. The reason why she's become so popular and she's on other people's channels is because Charlotte has I don't know what it is. She always has a unique perspective that or point of view that we wouldn't necessarily think about. And I think that's why Charlotte is doing very well as well. And I think the panel would agree. I know Charlotte is not going to agree herself, but I think the two lads would agree with me on the panel that she does brilliant, and she does really. She hasn't she, lads? She come up with points of views that really make us think, oh, well, Jesus, we never thought of that before.
Well, I think that some people just have a natural bent to spot things that other people miss. I think it's very insightful. I think that's it's good to kind of think a bit outside the box. And it's people have some penchant for that. The natural.
That's it. She is a natural. She is. She should be running her
Like
own
me.
She's on Daniel's channel, killing it there, and the two of them work very well. And she's on the Facebook as well, and now I found out she's on other channels as well. So fair play, I have to say. But again, we all came together because of our love of Doctor Who. It's mad. I even met my wife, Cheryl, who you all know, on a Doctor Who group that I was running. She sent me a private message. Talk Doctor Who, believe it or not. So for anybody that thinks it was just Doctor Who, but then obviously something came of that, and I haven't gotten rid of her since 3 years.
Poor woman.
You know what? It hasn't been plain sailing because no marriage is, but I have to say, of all the people that I've known throughout my life, she understands me the most, and I think that's why it works. But I understand her as well. We've been both through our struggles in our personal lives before we met each other, and I have to say it's worked out great. 3 years, and let's hope for another 50 maybe. Was she crying in there? She's probably watching some sad video, right? This is what she does, right? She did right. She doesn't like watching puppy or dog videos if dogs are in distress, and then she'll be on the Google and she'll be looking through news headlines, and then she'll see this ad for about puppy farms or something like that, and then she'll come out to me. She'll be crying, and she'll be like, I said, why'd you keep putting yourself through that though? Why'd you scroll? Like, you know what's going to happen. Like, yeah, man, she's got a heart of gold. She wouldn't harm a fly on him. But yeah, it still baffles me that I was able to bag a hot chick, not just a brilliant woman, but listen, a few years ago, very cynical. I'd tell people don't get married and stuff like that. It's not worth it. not worth the hassle. But I have to disagree with it. When it works, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, if you're ever going to take that plunge, make sure you find the right person, though. You know, and you'll know. You just know. You just know when you found the right one. Trust me. And luckily, that's happened. And yeah, 3 years. Let's hope for another. Well, as long as we're alive, let's. Yeah, I'm not obviously getting married ever again. She's been married twice, so this is our second marriage. So yeah.
Oh well, third time's a charm.
Heck you!
Joking.
You know what? I was just waiting.
That's a wicked, nasty.
You know what? I knew because I was just waiting. Because when I said that was her saying, I knew you could say something. Like,
well, you know what he was doing? He was just breaking the ice because you were proper mushy then for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I can't help it. You know it. But
well, you wear your heart in your sleeve, no.
That's it.
We wouldn't want you any other way, mate.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, back to serious nature. So I've got the watch along, and then obviously I'm going to have this wonderful panel on, and we're going to discuss the next installment of Doctor Who Flux. By the way, just to let you know, for any people that aren't on social media, just in case there aren't any on social media, but the Doctor Who logo keeps cracking. And it seems to be cracking even further. I was just thinking something, right? Now, hear me out. It's gonna sound mad, but it could be a possibility. What if this continues to crack, right? By the end of it all, it blows apart, right? And then the new logo.
Too soon.
Yeah.
I could happen, but I think it's a bit too soon for that.
Yeah, but hold on, right? You're thinking in the premise that he ties this story up in the next 3 episodes.
Or
right?
he's hinting of
Now,
a
if
total.
some people say he's going to drag it to the specials, if he drags it to the specials, then it would actually make sense.
See, I've been thinking about this because we've been debating this, haven't we? And I think he'll sort the Flux stuff out by the end of the series. But I more think the cracks are to do with the Flux. And I think he'll have to sort that out by the end of episode 6.
Yeah, you're like me. I think he can get it done in 3 stories, but a lot of people were talking in the chat and on the panel were saying no.
I think he the Timeless Child stuff he could drag out longer. I'm thinking purely the Flux. Sort of sort that thread out, make it get resolved somehow, and I think the cracks are more to do with that.
He needs to just drop it.
Child.
He needs to just drop it, because if he doesn't, I can see RTD struggle, because there's a lot of fans out there and they seem to be sticking by it militantly, and they're not going to budge on this Timeless Child unless it's retconned. Even putting it in a bubble universe, or having it as a separate entity, is not good enough for some fans out there, as we seen last night. And I have to be honest, as I said, I don't blame them for feeling that way. I really don't, even though I'll argue passionately on the other side of the coin. My side, obviously, it's just my opinion. But, you know, I hope for their sake it does happen, because I'm looking, as Daniel said as well last night, we're still going to watch RTD because it's RTD. We're going to give him a chance and see what he can do. But a lot of fans, I don't think are going to come back if Chibnall doesn't fix this. He just needs to forget about it and find a way, as Charlotte said now, to tie this up. But if he drags this out, to the specials, right? I tell you, I can't take it. But I'll watch it. What he shouldn't have to. He should wrap all of this up now in a nice little neat bow. He's got 3 episodes to do it. Just do it, and then give us something. We have the Dalek special then on New Year's Day. Give us something different again, and then you leave on the centenary, and then it's bye-bye, see you later, never want to see you again.
See, I was thinking like the way Russell could do it, and it wouldn't be a load of work for him, is literally whenever the Doctor's race comes up, just say he's a Time Lord.
Yeah.
And then that's enough of a line that it's basically ignoring Chibnall's stuff without outright retconning it.
Right, for you, that's what it is for you. That would make you watch. That's fair enough.
No, I'm just thinking that's the more simple way, and the less. I'm like you, Russell cannot spend his first series sorting this stuff out, and that's a really simple way to do it. Just say Doctor's Time Lord.
Yeah.
See, while I do agree with you, and I think that would be a way around it, I don't think that's going to be enough for certain parts of this fandom. And Lee obviously agrees with me there, because, you know, I had a heated kind of interaction with someone in the chat last night, but it got me thinking, you know, and I came to the realization that there's going to be a lot of fans that that's not going to be good enough. That isn't going to be good enough. It literally has to be retconned for them, or they can't move on from this. And it's sad that it's gotten to that state. But this is fucking down to Chris Chibnall anyway, and Piers Wenger. It's like he should never have got the job in the first place, and he should never have been allowed to do what he done. But this is what he's done to the fandom. And again, I'm not going to blame those fans, right? They have every right to feel that way. And it did make me, you know, think about it. And I have to say, while I agree with you, I would be okay with that. It'd still be in the back of my mind, though, you know, in the future, can he do something more to kind of double down on kind of dismissing this? But I don't, again, that'd be okay for me, but it's not going to be okay for a certain part of this fandom. And there is a lot of them that think that way. Again, who can blame them? Look at what they've been told for the last 5 years. Look at what they've seen for the last 5 years. Look at the abuse that they've gotten on social media and on channels. And,
people are not ready to forget or forgive that, you know, and I don't blame anyone for that. I mean, it's not just certain stands or fans, whatever you want to call them in this as well. It's been from writers, it's been from actors, directors, you know, Doctor Who magazine, all sorts. It's come from within the establishment, and we've seen the establishment, you know, interacting with the most vicious of these people as well in the fandom. And it's like, well, it's quite clear who you're standing alongside and bugger everyone else. I mean, we were effectively told we weren't welcome. By just about everything.
Look, I got it off to people that were connected to Doctor Who magazine in the early reigns of my channel. Yous all know that. And they're nasty pieces of work. What's going on? Everybody's dropping out. Charlotte, and did Charlotte leave a message? Because I got a private message.
Oh, she was on 3% battery.
Oh, she was on 3%. So say good night to Charlotte, and your chat were put in earlier on in the chat. But we'll see. Real Super Doctor might come back. But yeah, right. I mean, look, we were told we weren't welcome. We were vilified. You know, you've been through personal stuff in the fandom. I have. Even female friends of ours have been viciously piled on. There's a cult mentality in this fandom as well, which needs to be put out.
Well, you know, it's all this intolerance in the name of tolerance, which I find just absolutely ludicrous. And, you know, and it's how they turn a blind eye to all the terrible trolling that you've gone through and Cheryl's gone through, and Daniel and Charlotte and Melina. and that's you can't pick and choose your morality. You know, either you're going to stick by it against everything that you perceive,
You should
or if you're
call
not willing to call it out when it's from people within your own, unless of course it becomes so overwhelmingly obvious and people say, well, I disagree with it, but you did kind of ask for it, kind of thing.
Well,
you know, that's not an argument. That
condemn it all, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what side, right? It is, or what side of the
it's how
what-
divisive this era has been, and
Yeah.
that's something that is very hard for many people to get past. And I'm
I don't
I'm
blame
bored
him,
with that, frankly.
but I don't blame him. But this is what he is. This is his lasting legacy. See, you know, people need to understand out there. You know, we don't come on here to criticize it because
We don't want to be here criticizing.
No.
We want to be here praising it like everyone else. We really do. But we're not the ones making the crappy, shitty decisions and then gaslighting the crap out of everyone and harassing and bullying people into submission. That's not how you make friends. That's not how you make an audience, by harassing and bullying and trying to shame them into silence, basically, which is what this is. I mean, you know, I find it ironic that these so-called anti-fascist types are the most fascist people. If you don't comply with my worldview, you're evil and you must be controlled or silenced or shamed and maltreated. No, that's not how it works, right? Who defines what? You're too stupid to define what is or isn't fascist. You know, people who've been through systems of modes of control and gaslighting and all the rest of it through life experience might have a better idea of what it actually means. And unfortunately, you get a lot of kids who fall into this trap that they know better than everyone. Really, they haven't got any life experience in order to give them that framework. They can project by what they've been told, but it's secondhand or third-hand information.
Yeah.
And, you know, telling a bunch of this is the problem with Twitter. I really think they should divide Twitter into two, right? You have one for, like, I don't know, or you can have an age setting slider or something. So you can have, you know, you can cut out people who are, you know, under 18 or under 21 or something like that. So you don't have adults mingling with, you know, immature kids, basically, who want to dictate to adults what
See that,
what
but there has
reality
to be a
is.
will there, and I don't necessarily believe that there is. You know, social media really needs, you know, they really need to do something to get a handle on all of this. And also, you know, the Doctor Who accounts, to be quite honest with you, you know, they are aware that this is happening because they're on these social media platforms. You know, one word from them to call any kind of vile behaviour out during these 5 years would have been welcome.
Yeah, the
But they
BBC could have
never
put
have.
out a single. I mean, they must be aware. They could have put out a single message, but this is it. They want people doing it because people are talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's in good light or bad light. People are talking about it. And again, they are tacitly proving that they agree with the little militants that they've created. And they've made it clear that they wanted to clear out the old guard of the fandom and, you know, this brave, stunning new audience that never materialized, who just turned out to be, you know, whoever they were, venal and mean-spirited and, you know, living this kind of has now been defined as toxic positivity, you know, this kind of standing thing where, and it's this kind of sanctimonious, we know better than you and we're better people than you are because, you know, our politics say we are. And it's a tyranny. It's a tyranny of a monolithic thought culture who don't talk from experience, they only talk from what they've been told by their peers and the peer pressure that they're under to conform to a particular viewpoint, which dictates everything that they do. And it's all performative in front of their friends and allies, rather than actually from the heart or from experience. You know, they just repeat things because that's what everyone else is saying. And this is like the schoolyard playground being played out on Twitter. And imagine like being at school and then in the school playground, there's a bunch of adults trying to get on with their job, and you're telling them, look, you're wrong. I mean, you wouldn't listen, would you? Well, you shouldn't be there in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just talking hypothetically in terms of, you know, the mentality of this. And I think it's really weird that a bunch of adults at the BBC seem to be tacitly agreeing and promoting this kind of behavior and been getting away with it for so long. And now that it hasn't played out very well in terms of ratings, it's like, and then everyone's making up all these wonderful excuses as to, you know, TV habits have changed, or it's not about the ratings, it's about the audience share and all this other fucking nonsense.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like the shifting of the goalposts. It's like, no, the reality, and I keep labeling this online, it's like, no, it's because it's shit.
Do you remember when the woman who fell to earth dropped, right?
Oh, the ratings. See. Yeah.
And it was what, 12 million in the overnights, right? And they were ranting and raving about how successful it was. But as soon as it started dropping, and this happened in Series 11, right? 2 weeks later, right? Then all the rhetoric started changing. It was like, TV habits have changed. The ratings are fine. All of this, right? And they've carried on the same argument for the last 5 years. And now that the show, and look,
how fragile do you have to be to constantly keep reaffirming an obvious lie, and to viciously and militantly go after anyone who dares? She is the most protected doctor in the history of this show. No one can say anything against in terms of her acting, in terms of the character, in terms of the anything.
I know.
When you form a 3,000 plus hate mob on Twitter to tell people individual accounts and to shame them and to mock them and to pile on them and to have like thousands of, at least a good portion, or not actually that much of a portion, it's like 30 to 40, maybe 50 tops who are actively active in that online account that is now gone, that engaged in dogpiling on anyone daring to voice any form of criticism. There were some genuinely nasty, mean-spirited tweets that were made, personal attacks on Jodie Whittaker and so on. So I understand that. But again, they're not there to police. Which we called out as well. But they're not there to police the internet, but they were doing this for like a good year and a half, 2 years. And that's, I mean, like when I first came out after, I think, episode 4 or 5 of Series 11 saying, you know, I don't really think this is very good. You know, that she hasn't clicked with me. The writing isn't good. I wasn't saying anything really controversial. I wasn't being rude or effing B or any of this kind of stuff. But I was immediately set upon by several people in a Facebook group. When I was on there, calling me every name under the sun, saying I should die of cancer. Not one person, but several people. And one of them was the mod who ran that Doctor Who Facebook group, who then kicked me out of the group and then chased me into my DMs to tell me I should still die of cancer. And that was it. That was my formative. This is before I knew you. This is before Pulse Trek and you know, all these other channels, before I discovered Nerdrotic, and it was.
I'd say that was quite a shock for you, because you've been part, like you've been to fan clubs and all during your school. You spoke about
we had in my school, high school, we had
the channel.
Fantastic.
I say that for you personally, when that first incident happened and those nasty things were said to you, I say you really were really shocked, because you would never have known the fandom to be this nasty. I don't think.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. You know, it was a shock. But like, that's the thing. They swooped in immediately. They swooped in and they picked people off. And this is how a lot of people became disenchanted, disenfranchised. And this is how we all formed together. Like, they accuse us of being the toxic ones, and, you know, oh, we're just fighting you people because you're this, that, and the other. It's like, no, we are merely a response to what happened to us as individuals. You grouped together and attacked anyone who dared criticize
And
us,
we
Eric.
came
And we
together in
found each
solidarity.
other and we responded to you.
Yeah.
Everything was instigated by that side of the fandom. I'm not saying that there weren't people who were unnecessarily rude and nasty and all the rest of it, but at the same time, a lot of people's natural responses to being poisoned is going to be a bad reaction half the time. It felt like being poisoned. My eyes, ears, my brain were poisoned by this ineffectual rubbish that I was being told was Doctor Who. That wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't. And to deny people any right of reply or response or feeling, you know, a personal thing, really, a subjective thing, is a form of controlling people. And they're using gaslighting and public shaming, which is like something out of a bloody, you know, Chinese CCP, you know, struggle session, basically, which is what social media is like.
Yeah, I remember.
It's not okay. It's not
certain
okay.
Mr. BC. You know who I'm talking about. The fella with the hat that thinks, you know, he's 30, but he's really in his 40s. God love him. But I remember he put out a tweet. This was before he blocked me, along with you know, your mad one that also CD. And he put up a tweet and he says, the debate about a female doctor is already done, right? And I was like, the debate hasn't even happened, mate.
Well, this is what
shut down straight away, Lee.
That's what they do. They do that. They can't handle honest discussion, honest debate, because they see everything that counters them as inherently evil, or bigoted or whatever. So they immediately demonize any opposition. So anyone who says anything counter to the narrative is immediately inquisitioned as being the worst thing ever and the worst, and they must be constantly challenged and harassed and demonized and othered and made out to be the worst evil people ever. And that is intellectually dishonest. It's anti-intellectual, because you're denying discussion. The minute you deny discussion, you are the fascists.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's fascists who are tyrannical, who refuse, and that's the truest form of bigotry, is to deny opinions of others. And that's the definition of what bigotry is, to fundamentally oppose anything that counters your beliefs. And, you know, we want that discussion. We were denied it. And it's the same with the gender politics. It's the same ideology which says no discussion. The discussion is over before it's begun. That is not a way to either win friends or win arguments, because you're not having an argument.
Fair and open discussion by different sides of the argument. And then you come together and you come to a consensus. And that's the way we used to do things in society. But these people just... they straight away shut it down, and then, as you said, they demonized. And the media also didn't help either, because as soon as she was cast, they were coming out with headlines, well, if anybody has a problem with Jodie Whittaker being cast as the Doctor, is a sexist. And then this was another thing as well that they were throwing at fans. And then, of course, those people that shut us down straight away start using that against us. So the media also played a huge part in this. But what I'm disappointed in is the fact that nobody at the BBC came out in the 5 years to address the behaviour in the fandom, because I do not believe for 1 second that they don't know what was going on, and still goes on. Even tonight, as we're chatting, Lee, there's probably some sod out there in the Doctor Who fandom that's wrote something up that's been controversial, and they've probably been set upon. Just like I was a couple of days ago when I brought up the Brain and Morbius business. Then a pile-on started to happen. I had to block more accounts because I just don't deal with them anymore. But again, it just goes to show you. And then you seen in the chat as well on 2 streams, my wife's stream, and then another stream that I did last night, and being trolled yet again, and they're I don't look. They've been at this for 5 years, right? And they wonder why we still go on the way we go on. Well, if you leave us alone for starters, that would be a good thing. And if Chris Chibnall had managed to write something decent in 5 years, we would have a very different opinion. I don't know if we'd still have different opinions about Whitaker's doctor. I think we'd all probably still have the same points of view. But the thing about it is, if you guys that actually do like our doctor were more understanding of our point of view, because I know Lee and myself, we've listened to other genuine Jodie Whittaker fans, and we've asked them why they like Jodie Whittaker. And you know what? They've come up with from their point of view, a good valid point, They really, truly like her, and they think she's a good actor, which is fair enough. The people have different tastes, as you say, different strokes for different folks, which will probably be banned in a few years because that'll probably be deemed offensive. See, this is where we're going, folks. It's ridiculous. Actually, it's not where we're going, it's where we're at. And this gets worse. This gets worse, if we don't have people like Lee, myself, and other channels out there, calling this out. It's an attack on pop culture, and it's look at the franchises this kind of thing has destroyed. And it's not right. It's like our past in pop culture is being erased for these versions that they come up with, which are just not good enough. They're just not good enough, and they're full of all the usual tropes and agenda. And people out there can call us all the names they want. At the end of the day, this period in TV and movies will be looked back on, and I'll say there'll be a lot of cringe at it. To be quite honest with you, I don't think this is going to be looked in any favorable light. Because it was, as I said, it was an attack on pop culture. It was also an attack on fandom to erase us as fans and bring in these sycophants who act like those people from the 1940s, And I'm sorry, I will always come out and voice my opinions on this. Lee will never change, and I know there are plenty of other people that we know that are on the panel will never change. It doesn't matter how much. See, this is the thing as well. They don't realize it doesn't matter how hard you come at us. Yeah, sometimes you might get an odd victory here and there. That's bound to happen.
Well, they created us, and by focusing solely on us, they only make us more entrenched because
that's it.
We won't be dictated to.
We get knocked down,
and that's
but we do get back up again. I didn't want to try and say that because it's that song, "We Get Knocked Down," but that's the truth. We do. We've had higher knocks.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, we'll get back up, we'll dust ourselves off, and we'll go again. Because this doesn't end with just Chris Chibnall going anyway, and Jodie Whittaker leaving. There's a problem in the fandom, and we're gonna call it out, man. We're gonna call out this bad element because it's wrong. Nobody's opinions.
And no one's an angel in this story. Look, we understand it, but sometimes when you get cornered it's really difficult to play nice when you've been pilloried and cornered and harassed and ganged up on. It's like, and then they accuse us of bullying. It's like, well, no, look, when you have a 3,000 plus strong hate mob, right, and there's like 5 or 6 of us who've decided we're not going to take it anymore, and then we get called harassers and bullies, and you instigate this stuff. I mean, when that Tom Vance character went offline and that group folded, it went quiet. And then after a while, one of the leaders of that came out and said, "It's gone quiet." what's going on? You know, like they were accusing us of you know, going quiet. It's like, well, you can't bloody win. You know, it's like, of course it went quiet because we were left alone.
Yeah. See that period. I'm gonna tell you out straight. In the 5 years that I've been doing this, that was the toughest period for me. But not just for me, but for Lee, for the people that, because even though I was getting it and I was getting this constant attack, I was fighting back. But Lee was also there fighting with me, and there was other people there, and we took these people on. And look at, I predicted this, Lee predicted this, and I even said it. You know, this Tom Vance situation will blow up in their faces. We were exposing him left, right, and center, especially Lee as well. We were finding stuff every time he tweeted disgusting tweets to me. I was screenshotting them, but I was also retweeting them at the same time. Then I was throwing the screenshots up.
Ended up with a folder of over 1,000 screenshots of cases of harassment.
Yeah,
and so many of those accounts that belong to that group ended up having permanent suspensions and setting up multiple different accounts and getting suspended again. And not one of us on our side was permanently suspended.
No,
not one
I
of the main ones anyway.
Once, but I was suspended.
I was suspended only because
it was a Twitter thing. Do you remember?
Yeah, I had a suspension and I challenged it. And because Twitter doesn't move very quickly, they said it was a mistake.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, all we ever did was defend ourselves. And that was it. You know, we didn't go after people and try and name and shame them for anything other than what they were doing to other people. And they never seemed to understand that because they didn't want to.
By the way, there was literally Twitter suspended me by accident, right? It was the night that certain accounts were suspended, right? And it was a Twitter glitch. And then they put up that they were going to fix it, right? But I remember this clear as day, the amount of tweets that were talking about me that night. There were literally fans celebrating that my Twitter account was suspended, right? Even though it was done by accident. It was literally restored within, I think, 20 minutes. But within those 20 minutes, there was literally hundreds of tweets of people getting the screenshot of where it said my account was suspended, and it was floating all around Twitter, and there were literally people celebrating, and I mean celebrating hard. And then within 20 minutes, I broke all their poor little hearts when they realised I was back. And I even put up a tweet. So you all thought I was suspended? Well, no, I'm not suspended. Hello, and that drove them mad, because they thought they had a victory there. And this is the thing, you know, look, I didn't want to get involved in all of this crap. I really didn't. Yes, maybe I do say this. I was a bit controversial when I first started, right? And I still don't. I still think, you know, I don't really have a filter. I never really have. I speak my mind anyway.
But it's still none of the damn business, no matter how controversial you are. I mean, like, okay, you can come out and say you don't like something or want to block, move on, you know. But no, they made it a crusade, you know.
But I was never abusive. That's the thing. That's the thing. They made it out that I vilified Jodie Whittaker and you know.
Who cares? Even if you did, frankly.
But I wasn't. All I was saying was I thought she was a poor actress, and I still stand by that. I'm sorry. To me, yes, some people out there think she's actually, she's great at acting and other stuff. But everything that I've seen her in, from Black Mirror to Attack the Block and now Doctor Who and Broadchurch, she never has done it for me as an actress. So to me, she's not a great actress. A great actress, like, can, you know, inspire you while you're watching her. She doesn't. I don't think. I don't care what anybody says. She was brought in to inspire little girls, and then she said little girls and boys, right? I don't think any child out there that's been watching this era has been inspired by her doctor one iota. Peter Capaldi inspired people. Matt Smith did. right?
No, I
Dave?
think if she did, it's a very small amount.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know though. I don't know. I know she has.
Well,
her-
you know, they keep wheeling out these like smiley little girls in cosplay, and it's like, well, whose producer's daughter is that? You know, that's what I. I mean, he's gotten that cynical now. Anyway, listen, I need to wrap up.
I'm going as well. But listen, thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget, tomorrow I do the watch along while the episode is on, and then we have Lee and the rest of the panel, and hopefully we can agree a lot more this week, because I hope it's a good episode. But we do have our doubts, but we'll see. But we're going to leave it there. We'll say goodnight to Lee. Lee, you can pop off now if you want to, but thanks for coming on, and I'll see you.
My pleasure.
Tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
And to everybody in the chat, I will talk to you, as I said, tomorrow. And Melina, if you're playing Fortnite tonight, send me a message. I might go on and have a game or two, even though the game's been driving me mad. So let me know in a message on Messenger there. And yeah. So thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed tonight. We do normally, after the watch along, sometimes talk about a few different things afterwards. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Lee and myself. And thanks, Lee, for that. I really appreciate it. It has been a good day, except for the football, but we won't, as I said, I'm not going to get into that. But to everybody that was in the chat, thank you for coming along. And to everybody that was watching that but wasn't in the chat, because there was a lot of you watching, but only a couple in the chat, do us a favor, don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Please do. Good night, Arduros. Have a good one. And Peter, Robert, problem being, Forking Hell, and everybody else who joined us tonight, Queen Charlotte and Melina in the chat also, and everybody else. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll leave you with the Doctor Who trailers that our own talented guy in the fandom, Lee, who's just on. He created these channel trailers. And if you do have your own YouTube channel and you're looking for someone to do your intros and outros at a reasonable price, Lee is your man. Go check him out. See you later. Good night, folks.